night and offers delicious stone-baked pies with fresh ingredients and over 100 beers from around the world. What is Mellow Mushroom Pizza Makers? Correct! Trivia buffs of all ages can compete for Mellow Cash and swag and enjoy delicious food and drink specials at the Mellow Mushroom. Every Thursday night at 7 in the Vista and at 6:30 on Sunset in Lexington.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network, 107.5. And on 107.5 The Game app.
On a Friday afternoon, you made it. Welcome aboard the post-game show. Jay Phillips inside the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Elijah Campbell is in beautiful Tampa, Florida, where it is in the 90s, probably just as humid as it is here. In downtown Columbia, I've got 86, so it ain't like it's cold up here, Mr. Campbell. David Clonaker is in Tampa as well. He'll join us coming up in just a little bit. Stuart Lake, the coach, is in Starkville ahead of Carolina Mississippi State baseball, first of 3 tonight, and we'll give you a minor scheduling change based on weather coming up in just a little bit. The Atlanta Braves are in Cobb County, ready for the home opener tonight, and hopefully breaking a losing streak. We got some NFL stuff to get to and a whole lot more. But the focus of our attention today is obviously on the women's national semifinals. They start tonight with South Carolina and Texas. Elijah, the mood, I guess, for this team, confident. It probably not so much pensive. You know, again, you've beaten them twice. They've beaten you once. You controlled them. They didn't really control you in their victory. Carolina should feel good about this one, and yet we know they haven't been playing their best basketball of late.
Yeah, that's really why the focus yesterday, Jay, when I guess kind of talking to everybody was if we execute our game plan and we do what we're supposed to do, should win this game. Like that's, I think they know that they have the better team, which I believe they do. Yeah. Pretty well. I think everything that Texas wants to do offensively, South Carolina is just engineered to take away from you, especially when it comes to that mid-range jump shot and being able to not, I guess, take anybody from South Carolina off of the dribble. But the belief of this game being one in which South Carolina will beat itself if it is to lose, I think is a real strong feeling. I know it's the one I got, and I feel, based on the conversations I had yesterday, they're kind of in that same headspace.
Yeah, I just mentioned at the end of the halftime show the article you sent me in The Athletic about previewing this game and things like that, and I'll come back around to that in a second because there was one thing that I thought was really interesting in there that I believe will indeed happen tonight. So we'll touch on those things. Again, set the rest of the afternoon up for you. Of course, the men's Final Four starts tomorrow night. Just like tonight, Game 1 will be an all-SEC affair. So the conference is guaranteed to be playing for 2 national championships in the coming days. Tomorrow night over in Texas, San Antonio to be specific. It'll be Auburn and Florida, followed by Duke and Houston. Florida and Duke are the favorites, at least from a betting perspective. And I kind of think that's where we're headed, Elijah Campbell. I feel like it's Florida and Duke, if only because they are both playing what I deem to be their best basketball of the season.
Oh, absolutely, especially Duke too. I mean, even when Cooper Flagg went down, they found ways to win in that ACC tournament. And then you watch Duke play a team like Alabama, right, who just scored 1 billion points on BYU. Yes, I know there was dudes that have some like shooting regression. They weren't going to hit 20 plus threes in that game like they did BYU, but what Duke does defensively, too, just takes away anything you want to do. It doesn't matter if it's Alabama or, whoever. They know what you do best, and they are built to take that from you. And when you have, every lineup that you play has, guys 6'6" or taller in them, and you can switch, and you're all elite on-ball defenders, and you have a 7'2" big man like Kaman Malawach, who is an absolute eraser at the rim. Yeah, you probably should be able to take away everything everybody does. And it's going to be a defensive clinic tomorrow night, Jay, with that Duke-Houston game. I mean, those are two of the best defensive teams I've ever seen playing against each other. And I picked Duke in that game because I just trust them to be able to come away with more points. I think they're maybe a little more well-rounded offensively than Houston is. But, yeah, it feels to me Duke and Florida, and with Florida too, I mean, that's another team that just can beat you in any way, right? They have so much defensive versatility. Walter Clayton, if you want to talk about individuals playing their best basketball of the year, Walter Clayton Jr. turned himself into a top 5 player of the year candidate with how he's played over the last 4 weeks, man. He has been awesome, and I expect him to be awesome tomorrow against Auburn. He's going to have to be awesome tomorrow against Auburn if they're going to win that game.
Remember my really hot 99.6% percentile after the first couple of days of the NCAA tournament? Remember when I told you about that?
That hot start.
Yeah, you want to know where it is now?
69.
Lower.
Ooh, 59.
Lower.
39.
Well, it's higher than that.
Okay.
47.7% percentile.
Just slightly below average.
I'm in 13,284,075th place.
Okay. I mean, if you can cut it under 13 million, you might still have a chance in this thing.
I only have one team left, but it is the Duke Blue Devils, and I did pick them to win the national title. So maybe that matters. I don't know, but I had Michigan.
It will help.
I had Michigan in there in the, I guess that's the Auburn bracket, right? I had
that region.
St. John's out west. Did I have is that the Florida bracket?
That is.
Yeah, they were the two. And then I had the Tennessee Volunteers beating the Houston Cougars to get to this
closer
point.
On that one.
Yeah, well,
closer on that one.
Closer in the sense that I did have that matchup in the last game, but I did not anticipate Houston just
to erase them off the face of the
stomping the balls the way they did. But anyway, there you go. And then in the women's Final Four, I have three. And I have my national champion still alive. But I had USC versus USC, so I do not have the other USC. That's instead Connecticut. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm not doing a whole lot better in the women's bracket. I don't have that one pulled up for percentage, but I'll tell people in just a bit. A lot of things going on. Did you have a highlight last night anywhere where you went? By chance?
I had 4 highlights.
Oh, there it is.
Amazing.
All right.
Yeah. I had a few highlights last night. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When you're in Tampa.
Absolutely.
You do as the Tampans do, and that is drink the locally made fine craft beer of High Life.
Yeah, if you don't know, High Life by Cigar City Brewing, Tampa, Florida, a fantastic IPA. Many of you that are IPA people have already had one, I'm sure. It's been around a while now, but if you've not, and you like a nice, crispy, hoppy IPA.
Crispy is a good way of putting that. Yeah, it's very crispy. It's good.
Very, very West Coast style. I highly recommend.
Bacon, chicken, some truffles in there too. Had some mushrooms. It was a lot, man. It was a lot, and it was one of those. I looked at it when I got to the bar, and I kind of stared it. I scouted it a little bit. I looked my opponent in the face, and I got really brave, and I ate it all in one sitting. And we took care of business. We executed the game plan, right? That's a key for South Carolina tonight. It was the key for me last night to be able to execute the game plan and finish that whole thing, even though I think David Cloninger had to carry me over to the next place we went to because I was not walking out of that building.
Well, that's good. That's good. DC is always there to help, and he can explain that to us when he joins us here in just a little bit. Fried chicken in it or like sautéed, like grilled?
It was grilled.
Grilled chicken, okay.
Yeah, it was grilled.
Well, it sounds good.
Oh, it was heavenly.
Sounds good.
Oh, heavenly. 10 out of 10. Would do again.
Yeah. And again, you're dropping Heath Klein's name everywhere, right? For comped food, Uber rides, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you think I got my hotel here?
Yeah, there
you
it
think
is.
I paid for this?
That's right. There you go.
They actually paid me.
Good stuff. All right, so before we get back into the Carolina game and the baseball stuff, on a scale of 1 to 10, my confidence level should be blank, with 10 being most confident about my Atlanta Braves ending their winning or losing streak and winning their first game of the year tonight against the Florida/Miami Marlins.
8. I go 8.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
playing the Marlins.
I was honestly just going to put it at like 5 and just sort of hedge my bets. I don't even know. And the Braves got, more bad news on Ronaldo Lopez, who is now likely, if not done for the year, done for most of it. The Braves have basically just admitted they've misfired on a couple of bullpen guys. They didn't spend a lot of money this year on that. So I don't know, man. I'm trying to feel better about my Atlanta Braves, but
you're talking through it though. A lot of men will hold these concerns in their life and their issues in, and ultimately it boils over in anger and it becomes a character flaw. But you're talking through it, and I appreciate that. And I know any therapist that would listen to our radio program understands and appreciates you getting to talk through the struggles.
I'm trying.
Because you are a fan of the only winless team in Major League Baseball.
The only, yeah.
Mine, not too far from it. Mine did make a little bit of history last night, becoming only the first team since 1960 to lose 3 straight 1-0 games, which is just marvelous.
That's crazy, man.
Really
when you think of all of the teams and all of the games that are played in Major League Baseball, that has not happened in 60-something years. Especially in a few dead ball eras, which we're not necessarily in right now. Maybe that makes it even more remarkable. But as I told you, too, again, we're trying to keep our head up here during bad times for our ball clubs. The Reds can pitch. And
dude,
that's
that
good.
pitching staff is mean,
yeah.
man. They got a mean starting rotation, and they got a couple of dudes that are still working their way into it that are in the farm system. So that's exciting. I would just like for somebody to remember to bring their bats to the ballpark. That'd be cool. I would just mark that off the checklist. Have a checklist of stuff that you need when you get into the game, like your uniform, your hat, your gloves. Batting gloves, if you elect to choose them. I know not everybody's Vladimir Guerrero, but batting gloves if you elect to choose them, to use those. But just don't leave off bats this time. I think somebody who's making this list is maybe an item or two short.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm hopeful for the Braves tonight, but Braves have some problems, man. And at this point in time, you're not really making trades yet because it's the second week of the season. Nobody's going to trade with you. And even if they tried to, again, sure, send us Ozzie Albies and we'll give you a left-handed reliever, or something like that, So the prices would be ridiculous.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Before we hit the break, just a second ago, Elijah mentioned Cooper Flagg. Congratulations to that young man. He has been named today the Associated Press Player of the Year. He is one of. Is he the only? He's not the only freshman to ever win this thing, is he? No,
I
the
think
fourth.
Zion won it too.
Fourth. Yeah, fourth freshman to win the.
Anthony Davis probably won it too.
Let's see. I'll tell you. Hang on. Yes, good call. This pretty heady company. Zion. AD,
Kevin Durant,
and KD. Yep, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are your freshman winners, and both were all three were either 1 or 2 in the draft. And I guess most people believe that young Cooper Flagg will be the first pick in the draft. So.
Oh yeah.
There's that. So
he is the runaway #1 pick. This is the draft lottery will be the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes.
And tomorrow.
Which means don't get your hopes up, Charlotte.
Tomorrow afternoon, I don't know exactly what time, but tomorrow afternoon, the Wooden Award will be announced. So I think he's.
You had a hand in?
I think he's. Yeah, I get to vote in that one. They let me. That was nice. I've been doing that one about as long. I think I started voting for both awards. I think in the same year. I've been voting for about 10 years in the Heisman and and the Wooden Award. So I appreciate the fact
Very
that both of
nice.
those groups allow me to do such things. But tomorrow we'll have that one for you. All right, we'll come back on the other side. Keep getting you ready for Carolina and Texas. That tip-off is coming up in a little under 4 hours' time from down in Tampa. David Cloninger will join us in just a bit as well. It's a very busy Friday post-game show from Columbia and Tampa on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union ready to help you out. If you're a homeowner looking to make some improvements, tap into the equity in your home. You've been there for a while. You've earned it. Why not put it to work for you? Palmetto Citizens can also get this done for you with great low rates, lower closing costs, lower application fees than the big banks. And when you unlock your home's equity, you can easily access that line of credit over a 10-year draw period. Assist you with all of those needs and goals. You know, the need could be fixing that kitchen up, or kids are getting a little older, need an extra bathroom so they're not all over each other all the time, or somewhere to go play. Maybe it's time for a pool out back. Hey, whatever you want to do it better with Palmetto Citizens. Great people to work with. My wife and I have been members at Palmetto Citizens for several years now. And I've said before, the processes for the things we've done far easier than I had even imagined. So take it from me. These people are great to work with. 14 locations across the Midlands and always online at palmettocitizens.org.
Looking for a dealership that treats you like family? Come to Herndon Chevrolet, where we've been proudly serving Lexington and the Midlands for over 50 years. Whether you're shopping for a new or pre-owned vehicle or just need expert service, you'll find it all right here. Shop online anytime at HerndonChevy.com or stop by and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Langston Moore here. You know, a former Hall of Fame coach used to say all the time, it doesn't matter if someone graduates from medical school with all A's or all D's, they still get called doctor. Don't just trust anybody with your roof just because they have the title roofer. Trust us, the Roofing All-Americans. They've been in business for over 25 years in the roofing and construction biz. They know what it takes to score you that beautiful brand new roof. With their transparent pricing, prompt service, attention to detail, Roofing All-Americans, they're the best in the business. The same things that made these guys the best in the business when it came on the gridiron, it makes them the same things that make them the best in the business when it comes to your replacing and repairing your roof. So Roofing All-Americans is your go-to when you need that beautiful brand new roof. So give us a call today at 803-250-1395. That's 803-250-1395 or Roofing All-Americans, or check us out on the web at roofingallamericans.com. That's roofingallamericans.com.
We know what it's like when you're injured. You hurt, you can't work, you can't pay your bills, and the insurance company won't return your calls. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, We're here for you when things go bad. We're local, resourceful, and have a proven record of success.
I'm Stephen Samuels. Our team is big enough to handle any case and small enough to care about each one.
We get South Carolina because we're true South Carolina. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Pollen got you sneezing? Is your home covered in mold, mildew, algae, and yellow powder? Have no fear. Our sweet deal of the week is from Squeegee Clean. Log on to 1075thegame.com this Friday to get a $300 gift certificate for only $150. Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 1075 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 1075 The Game app.
A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Trip.
On the Game Network and on 1075, the Game app.
20 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay Phillips in downtown Columbia. Ed Bird at Master Control. Elijah Campbell in Tampa, as is our next guest, David Cloninger. Before I bring both of those guys back on, though, if you heard that promo before, or right when we came out of that last segment, that prize that Pro Swing is giving away a week from today, holy crap. Y'all.
Yeah, buddy.
My goodness. When I heard, I got wind that this was going to be happening a couple of days ago before and you know, I thought for a second, maybe if I quit my job today, I could go buy a whole mess of time at Pro Swing and then win that prize. And then maybe they would hire me back. I don't know. I didn't ultimately do it, Elijah.
A lot of hoops to jump through there.
Yeah, you know, I didn't, and I like my job, so I didn't want to quit. But dang, and again, if you missed it, y'all, you can win not just Sunday tickets to the Masters, but like VIP hospitality. That's all.
That's an elevated Masters experience.
That's all right. David Cloninger joins us. He's used to a different kind of VIP room when he does things, but he's here.
I'll refrain from saying what I think.
Well, that's back in the day. Back in the day.
It's the VIP room in the Fellowship Hall.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
David.
Well, I was just saying, go watch Revenge of the Nerds 2 to find out what VIP really means.
A rare Revenge of the Nerds 2 reference.
Hey, man. I mean, not a great successor to the original.
No, it was not.
Courtney Thorne-Smith in it. So, yeah, you take what you can get.
Sure. I understand that you and Elijah had a couple of sodas last night and enjoyed some time in downtown Tampa.
Yeah, we were down at the bingo parlor down at the YMCA there, and the night just took a turn after that. You know, we were just along for the ride, though. We didn't instigate anything.
Sure, that's good. That's good.
We took what the defense gave us, is what David's saying.
Well, you know, thank you, Elijah. That's a fine jumping off point into some basketball talk, which is the primary, I think, reason both of you boys are down on the west coast of Florida. But DC, in all seriousness, look, here's the positive fact: South Carolina plays a game tonight, which means that Maryland and Duke didn't beat them. And maybe sometimes there are people, despite the setting, that still feel like South Carolina, you know, if you're favored by 20, you should win by 20. And they didn't last weekend. And it does feel like there's a little regression on offense. But to Elijah's point there, take what the defense gives you. That's what Dawn said they're doing. Hey, we'll absorb what our opponent is doing, and we will find ways to adjust in game, and we will win the game. And so far, that's borne out. But, you know, is there heavy reason for concern tonight when it comes to South Carolina trying to score points?
Well, Jay, I think there's always concern when you're winning games, but perhaps you're not winning them the way you've won them all year. Yes, there have been some games in the regular season where South Carolina did have to do exactly what Dawn Staley said, which was get down in the dirt and muck it up. And then, you know, hey, if you're going to have a street fight, well, you can win a street fight. I think everybody would just prefer it be a little more comfortable. And then, of course, when you have 3 games in a row to where you've kind of played the same way, which is pretty good defensively and not very good offensively, there is a cause for concern. So you look at that and say, man, if they don't play better, I'm like, yeah, I know, but you want it to be comfortable. I want it to be comfortable. I don't have to keep writing two stories off the same game, one if they win, one if they lose, and have those ready to go, because in the hurry you're probably going to mess something up. But that's just the way it's been. And, the concern is that Texas, a defensive team coached by a defensive guy in Vic Schaefer, he's going to operate them and do exactly what Maryland and Duke and Indiana tried to do, which is force South Carolina to play its half-court offense. Because for 5 of the last 6 halves of basketball, the half-court offense has not been very good.
Yep.
So they're going to try to get it in there, and South Carolina's just going to be like, hey, maybe it won't be comfortable, but you're going to have to find one more shot in there.
Yeah, David, I hate – if I'm a Texas fan, I just hate this matchup just because of what Bree Hall and Tessa Johnson, Raven Johnson do on the perimeter in terms of just not allowing you to get – your shot off. And as good as they are on ball defensively, and considering what Texas likes to do, which is shoot mid-range jumpers, I don't think there's a team in women's college basketball that shoots more mid-range pull-ups and jumpers than the Texas Longhorns do. Madison Booker specifically, and she's shooting about 19 points or percentage points lower than her average on those shots that this year in those games, and it's been a nightmare for them. But offensively, what does Texas maybe have to do to get it to where they can maybe get the game into the 60s, kind of like what they did in Austin? Because I feel like if this game's in the 50s, South Carolina's still going to win, because I just trust that unit, even with their offensive struggles, to score more than this specific Texas bunch.
No, you're right there, Elijah. And the fact is that you have to be, kind of on your P's and Q's when you play this Texas team, because you know what they're going to do. It's not a good three-point shooting team. They do live in the mid-range, and they can do that with Rory Harmon or with Maddie Booker, who is a fantastic finisher at the rim, but she's also just got that great jump shot. Not only can she jump high, but she arcs it so high that you really can't get your fingers on it to block it. So that is what they want to do. They want to try to get the ball to their bigs, Taylor Jones and Kyla Oldacre, who killed USC in Austin in the fourth quarter there in that loss, and they want to try to back USC down from keeping those big girls to get in the paint. So how do you do that? Well, some of that is how the officials are going to judge the defense, and obviously these past 2 games we've seen some wildly inconsistent officiating, and you just hope that doesn't happen now. But the thing is, they're going to try to get the ball to their big girls and make a living in the lane early, because they know South Carolina just does not have the height to stop it. And then with their defense, it's going to be like, look, take USC out of transition, whatever you got to do. You hope it won't be a starter that has to do it too much, but if they're running Raven Johnson or Tahini Paupo running toward the other end, just grab them. Just grab them and take the foul and slow down their momentum, and like I said before, force them into that half court. As you were saying, Texas fans probably frustrated that they're facing USC for the 4th time this season. I'd be frustrated too if I knew that my coach was 0-7 against Dawn Staley when it counted. So, that's there's a lot more that goes into it, but people have been asking me all week, hey, what do you think? What do you think? I'm like, what I think is this: South Carolina will be playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I like the opportunity tonight. No doubt about that. David, Carolina leads the nation in bench scoring at better than 40 points per game off the bench. Now, you're not going to get that kind of production potentially in this event. But the other day, they scored 9, and you are expecting more of that, especially considering that it's Joyce Edwards, Malaysia Fulwiley, and Tessa Johnson who provide the bulk of those points. How concerning is that? And kind of a part B, all 5 starters went over 31 minutes each the other day, which had not happened at all this season. Is that just a byproduct of where they are? Is Dawn okay with that, or is there some kind of spark to get the bench going?
Well, Jay, it's just basketball 101. If they listen, they went to their usual substitution patterns, and the subs didn't come in and play very well. So if you don't play well, you got to come out.
Yep.
And it just so happened that it was the starting 5 that really led them through, because it was looking pretty tense against Duke there. But then Tahini Paupo, starter, senior, hit a couple of jumpers to get them started. And then Chloe Kitts, starter, junior, came in there and really, locked it down. It happened to be a game where the bench just did not play well. So he said, okay, well, maybe that was the aberration. That said, Tessa Johnson has not played very good this tournament. Malaysia Fulwiley, hey, you saved the day against Maryland, and it was awesome. But, with Malaysia, you're going to get some bad games in there where she just can't get it going. And I think she only played 9 minutes or something like that. And then Joyce, I wasn't the only one who was asking her, like, not trying to belabor the point or hammer it home, but what do you think your last 3 games has been? And she said, they haven't been good. You guys know that. I mean, I just have not been playing well. And when defenses have sped her up and forced her to get inside and force that shot, she's rainbowing a lot of stuff over the rim or just missing those layups. And, you ask if it's concerning, Jake? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, when your 2 leading scorers aren't playing very well, it is concerning. But the strength of this Gamecocks team, as it was last year, is the team. And they seem to know that even when they're playing a woman or 2 down, the rest of them will have your back. So, I mean, it's been working so far. There's no reason to think it won't work again. Again, I do think South Carolina will play on Sunday, but we'll have to have another talk on Sunday morning.
David's going to hang out with us more on the hoops and a little baseball as well. Again, DC and Elijah in Tampa. Yours truly, downtown Columbia. It's the Friday postgame show.
.7.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free.
Cato's Power Equipment, a great place to visit this time of year. Spring is now fully upon us. Yard work galore to get done. I'll be doing a lot tomorrow. Looking forward to it, sort of. But here's why. I got my brand new Toro equipment the other day, my Flex Force blower and pole saw. Got my Time Master 30-inch deck Toro mower. I mean, I get things done a lot quicker now. And that makes me happy because I don't mind doing yard work, but I don't want to be out there for hours and hours. And if you're like me, the homeowner landscaper, you want to take care of your little piece of earth, right? But you need to do it quickly so you can also go watch whatever you want to watch or, take a nap. Your call. And if you do it for a living, see Cato's for everything they've got from Gravely, Steel, Toro, and more. Great service department. Just check them and see. Beautifully remodeled showroom. Great people. Been in business for more than 40 years. Ben, Matt, and the crew. 4012 West Beltline Boulevard. And always online at catospowerequipment.com.
From the roar of the crowd to towels waving to the flashing lights, there's only one place to catch a Gamecock football game. And that's at Williams-Brice Stadium. So make your plans now to join us in our home for the 2025 football season. Visit thegamecockclub.com and secure your tickets today.
Kickstart your day at 9 a.m. with your Carolina Pick-Me-Up. Sponsored by South Carolina's largest injury law firm, George Sink Injury Lawyers. If you're injured, call all nines today.
Get George Sink Law Firm on the line. Call 999-9999.
It's time to celebrate all that's happened this year. The Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce proudly presents the 2025 Awards Gala and Dinner, Saturday, May 17th, 7 p.m. at the venue at Murphy Hill in Pomeria. It's an evening filled with fellowship, food, live music, and a chance to celebrate the people and businesses in the area. Ticket and sponsorship opportunities for the Awards Gala and Dinner are available at chapinchamber.com. The Greater Chapin Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit partner of Cumulus Media.
They say perfection is a journey, and at Carolina Stone Craftsman, that journey leads us to just outside Columbia in Chapin. Our marble, our granite, our quartz, they're sculpted with the highest craftsmanship, honed with family values, and delivered with professional results. Explore the craftsmanship of each slab, see all our new showroom has to offer, and experience our custom hardscapes. Crafted to perfection, experience Carolina Stone Craftsman's workmanship. Take us for granted. Your journey to perfection starts with us. Carolina Stone Craftsman, just beyond Columbia and Chapin and beyond your expectations. CarolinaStoneCraftsman.com.
Langston Moore here with RoofingAllAmericans.com. There's a storm coming. No, not a sandstorm, but hurricane season, storm season, wind season. It seems like it's just like football season all year round. It's storm season all year round. And Roofing All Americans wants to block and tackle all the headaches that come with roof repair, roof maintenance, and just handling a roof and maintaining your home. With Roofing All Americans, it's been over 20 plus years that these guys have been in the construction and roofing business, and they want to take care of your toughest roofing and construction needs. Call them today at 803-250-1395 for free, no obligation quotes. That's 803-250-1395 or Roofing All Americans, or check us out on the web at roofingallamericans.com. That's roofingallamericans.com.
what you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Act now for springtacular savings on the best selection of new Chevys. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
NBA veteran Jim Jackson takes you on the court.
You get a chance to dig into my 14-year career in the NBA and also get the input from the people that will be joining. Charles Barkley.
I'm excited to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor.
Spike Lee, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Academy Award winner.
Next then.
So, now you see, I got you. But also how sports brings life, passion, music, all of this together.
The Jim Jackson Show, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
A special post-game show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Welcome back into the post-game show here on this Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Elijah's in Tampa. Our good friend David Cloninger on the line in downtown Tampa as well. Carolina, Texas tonight. It's a 7 o'clock, a little bit later than that. You know, TV does its thing, so a little past 7. Brad Muller on the call, 6:30 here in Columbia on 107.5 The Game. And tonight here in Columbia only, because everybody else on the network will have baseball wherever you get it across the state. But here in Columbia, Carolina baseball will be on 98.5 FM. And tomorrow, baseball has been moved up to 1 o'clock Eastern because of that massive storm system heading across the Midwest. It'll be hitting Mississippi and a lot of other parts of the South tomorrow. So in an effort to get ahead of it, Carolina and the Bulldogs will play a little bit earlier tomorrow. We'll have more complete details on that. DC, as we stay with this game, and I do want to get your take on a little bit of what's going on around Paul Maneri's ball club, but for tonight, and we've touched on a lot of different aspects of what this team is and isn't doing, and the bottom line that's the most positive is they are still winning, even if it's a little bit ugly, and nobody's going to care how you win as long as you win. But one person, I'll put you on the spot here, who's the one player, starter, bench, that just really kind of has to have a big game tonight to make certain, as you've said, that Carolina plays on Sunday?
Oh, boy, it's a tough one because it could go, a whole lot of different ways. But I'd say just because it really hasn't been there lately, and she's really the one you count on to handle Texas' inside game, Joyce Edwards. She's got to get in there and do what she normally does just because these past 3 games she's not been herself. And, of course, a lot of people say, well, fatigue and all that from the season. I said, yeah, that's a decent point because she played 30 games in high school last year total. And this will be her 38th game tonight, and obviously playing a lot better competition. Nothing against Camden High School, Region 3-3A, but, it's a little bit different ball game up here. So Joyce has got to play well. She's got to show she can handle the post, and she's got to show that she can take whatever Kyla Oldacre and Taylor Jones give her and give it right back, because South Carolina's got to have some kind of inside presence, and Chloe Kitson, Snia Fagan can't do it all by themselves.
Yeah, that's the one thing I guess, DC, when I've been talking to Joyce, I've kind of asked her about how she's handling a lot of the double teams, because it seems like this entire tournament, every time she puts the ball on the floor, she's seeing an extra body. And that's kind of been a big point of contention, and especially when it comes to like the turnovers in the Indiana game, for example, right? That's kind of when a lot of the issues started happening. But what is it about, I guess, Joyce's game that you've seen that just hasn't been as right here in these last 2 weeks compared to when we saw her be this team's leading scorer during the season?
I would say it's probably her focus when she gets the ball on the block or in the paint. It seems like she's rushing a lot, maybe struggling to get her feet set. Sometimes you are going to get blocked. Sometimes you're going to get hit with contact, and that's something that she's been able to handle and learn throughout the year. You expect her to have a few struggles as a freshman, and she did. But then she got over that. Now it seems like she's kind of taking a step back and saying, hey, listen, you're waiting for the contact, and it's not coming. Just put the ball off the glass. Put the ball off the glass. You just got to get back to those fundamentals. Unfortunately, you can't really practice what an opponent is going to do to you. You can try to do it, but you just never know when, hey, Jones and Oldacre are doubling me, so wouldn't you have missed that shot? Like, yeah, but maybe you could have turned it around and kicked it back out right there.
David, I just want your take on the other game here. And again, not looking past Texas, certainly, but there is another Final Four game tonight, and it does feature the two teams that not just, beat South Carolina, but really beat them decisively. And there's a lot of folks out there who feel like right now, regardless of anybody else in this event, that Connecticut is maybe playing the best basketball of all. What's your feeling looking at who else is going to play for a national title on Sunday?
Well, of course, Jay. I mean, UCLA did, walk a mud hole in South Carolina way back in November. That game they played pretty perfect. That was their Super Bowl out at home, and South Carolina was able to brush that aside. They're like, you're definitely not happy about this, but there's reasons for it. It happens. You weren't going to win every game, all that, and they kind of put it to bed. You look at that potentially for the national title game and say, well, they've got something you can't do nothing about, which is Lauren Betts. But they've also had Kiki Rice play a pretty significant role all year, and she really hasn't played that much or played that well in this tournament so far. Dawn Staley's not going to lose to the same team twice in the same way in the same season, so I would be anxious to see what kind of matchups that USC could throw at UCLA. UConn, to your point, looking awful scary. Mm-hmm. Awful scary. Mm-hmm. Everybody's playing at their absolute best. They don't really have a true big girl, but they've got a bunch of big guards who can really come at you in the paint from all over everywhere. And as you saw at home, when they're clicking like they are currently, it's really, really tough to slow them down. So we'll see, but USC's got to win this game tonight first, which, again, I think they will. And if it's me, I'm cheering for the Bruins.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Before we get you out of here, baseball, look, got to win the other night. Yes, it was against PC. Paul Maneri made a few lineup shifts, dropping Hall and Petrie for Hall down into the 3-hole, Petrie into the cleanup spot. It worked then. I'll be curious to see exactly what the lineup looks like tonight, but more than anything else, David, they needed to get a shot of confidence. And as Elijah and I have said, you maybe got to try something. You can't make wholesale change. You're in game 31 tonight. But you had to try to do something. But our buddy John Whittle, really didn't like it and felt that it could actually be a hindrance overall. So what are you anticipating in terms of Carolina trying to they get guys on, DC. They just can't bring them around. What are you looking for this weekend?
Well, I would hope that there'd be a shift in hitting philosophy. And I know that there was when Paul Maneri came over. Monty Lee used to be in charge of the offense. Paul's now the guy who's kind of overseeing that. And I realize that he's done it his way a long time, and he learned from his dad, and he's won a lot more games. It just seems to me, if you get guys on base when you have a team that struggles to pitch and struggles to defend, you got to give yourself every possible chance to score. That means you ain't got to swing at every first pitch, man. You ain't got to swing at every second pitch. You just got to go up there and work an at-bat. Try to get on base. I don't care how boring it looks, how long it extends the game. Just get it on base. I mean, the other day, what was it? They loaded the bases and no outs and couldn't score?
Yep.
Come on. And what was the total pitch count for the three batters? Like 4?
Yeah, I think it was strikeout and double play. Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, it was quick.
So it's like, come on, guys. I mean, you got to help yourselves out here. So until that changes, I don't really know if any kind of lineup change is going to help you. To me, it was always, look, if you're going to have some streaks in this game that aren't going to go well, you just got to keep going out there and know that you have the right answer and it's going to click sometime. I don't know how guys get comfortable not playing or playing every day. You're going to have some guys in there every day, but it's a lot of comfort to a player when they don't have to worry about where they're batting or where they're playing that particular day. Injuries happen. Okay, that's something else again. But you have to know where you're going to be and what you're going to be expected to do every defensive half inning, every offensive half inning. So it's been a very trying season. It is not lost yet. They've got a big opportunity this weekend, but you got to go out there and make it happen because Mississippi State's not playing that well either, but they got the game at home. And to those fans out there, their home team is, hey, they're undefeated right now and already in Omaha. Yeah. They're not going to make it easy on USC. Yeah.
Elijah says that I should have a confidence level of 8 out of 10 in the Braves winning their home opener tonight. Would you share that sentiment?
Well, Jay, you got to want to win baseball games along with being talented enough to want to win baseball games. And right now they have neither. So, hey, 0-162, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Elijah,
We're
that
also
means
playing a team that doesn't like to win baseball games.
Elijah,
I think that helps too.
DC has a -8 confidence.
Yeah, his is -8.
So we'll see.
Even when I tell him they're playing the Marlins, it's a nice friendly reminder. They are playing the Marlins, who also don't have a large desire to win baseball games.
No, I don't know. Where is Duval these days?
Alex Anthopoulos knew that he needed bullpen help, so he decided to go get an outfielder who got suspended for 80 games and didn't get any bullpen help. It's almost like he doesn't know what he's doing. But,
sadly, that's a
I'm
fact.
sure it'll all work out.
Glad you boys made it back safely last night. Enjoy the ball game tonight. Appreciate you, DC. We'll chat with you again here real soon. Y'all enjoy it.
Sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Elijah and I back with you as the postgame show rolls on.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
This is Andrew Bogish with a Sports Minute. Only basketball matters tonight as the women's Final Four takes the court in Tampa. But Gino Auriemma and other big names have valid complaints that need to be addressed at some point. The gap between today and the previous round is too short, and only having 2 regional sites instead of the 4 on the men's side is making it harder for fans to see their teams play. I'm Andrew Bogish.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
The big media are out to stop President Trump at any cost. You know their names. They're all the same. President Trump doesn't trust the big media. Nor should you. Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific. So tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's series, The Big Media's War on Trump. Every night, Rob Finnerty is exposing their big lies and gives you the straight talk you want. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems. Or download the free Newsmax app on your phone or home TV now. Millions have made the switch to Newsmax. You should too.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Welcome back in. Post-game show rolling on this Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell, Ed Bird at Master Control. Elijah's in downtown Tampa. And coming up next hour, Stuart Lake will join us from Starkville. Get you ready for Carolina baseball tonight at 7. Again, here in Columbia on 98.5. Any of you listening anywhere else across the state and have your local Gamecock affiliate, you'll have that. But here in Columbia at 98.5 FM for baseball. Same time, of course, Carolina women's basketball, which is going to capture a lot of attention. That'll be here on 107.5. And again, I'll remind you, tomorrow, honestly, Elijah, I can't remember what time the game was going to start. I just know now that it's going to be moved to 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, that tidbit of information is now obsolete. So if you did know, then you should forget it.
Well, all I have here
seems like
is
you have.
Yeah, all I have here is tonight's start time. So I don't have I've got this trusty piece of paper with certain bits of information on it. But the Saturday start time wasn't on there. But that's nobody's fault. But anyway, it doesn't matter now. It's going to be at 1 tomorrow because there is some pretty bad weather making its way across the country right now. We'll have certainly more on basketball, Elijah, including some sound from Dawn in just a little bit. But, David made a good point about Joyce Edwards, and I think he also made a good point in saying, boy, you don't want to just put it on one person because the strength of the team is the team, and that has been the hallmark, by and large, of Carolina basketball under Dawn Staley. Yes, we know they've had a couple of number 1 overall picks, but, it's still, a team that buys into the concept of winning above all else and not so much the personal glory. But at the same time, you have a true freshman who's been your leading scorer, and you wonder how much teams have really just decided to say, all right, look, negate her off the bench, force them to do things that make them more uncomfortable. So, Joyce having a big game, or Tessa having a big game, or Malaysia repeating what she did against Maryland again, I think are so important for this team because, again, the bench has been such a primary component of who they are.
It absolutely is. And that's your separator, too. I mean, there are a lot of teams in women's college basketball, Jay, that have really good starting fives, right? We're about to see 3 other teams that are playing tonight that also have really good starting fives. There's things in this Final Four that maybe are something that South Carolina doesn't have, like UCLA having 6'7" Lauren Betts down low, right? Usually South Carolina is the one that has that dominant big, but you don't this year. Lauren Betts is kind of the anomaly there in this Final Four. You have a number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, which will be Paige Beckers in this Final Four as well. So these teams have a lot of different things, but what none of these teams remaining have are 3 lethal off-the-bench scorers. That's your separator. Right. Like, that's this team's separator. That's what makes them not just a good team, but a great team, is the ability to dig into the bench and get maybe 10-plus points from at least 3 different players that come off the bench. And that's happened so many times this year. And if your separator doesn't show up when you need them to, that's how you maybe exit early. And so, I don't want to put it all on Joyce. Joyce is one of, I guess, maybe the more notable ones because her scoring numbers have gone down because teams have just played her differently in this run, and she's still kind of figuring that out. But, Malaysia, if she doesn't have the game she has, maybe you lose to Maryland in the Sweet 16. Right. And that's real possible, right?
They had a fourth-quarter lead. The Terps had a fourth-quarter lead, man.
They did. And it did for a lot of it as well, for a lot of the fourth quarter. So Malaysia saved you in that Maryland game. And you need – I mean, I don't know if you even survive tonight if Tessa only shoots 1 shot. Right. A lot of other things have to go really well. You can survive it, but a lot of other things have to go significantly well. I mean, if I'm Dawn – and I sub in Tessa, and no matter what part of the first quarter it is, I'm running her off a screen. I'm getting her a look, and I'm telling her, I don't care how open it is, you get a shot up. We're going to get you in some rhythm, because whenever the 3-point shot's falling, this team becomes significantly different. They're so much harder to guard. But I would absolutely try to get her going as much as possible, because then that kind of just becomes contagious. And then if you're hitting a bunch of threes, you can't really double the post as much, because if they're finding three-point shooters, then you're really, as a defense, in a torture chamber. And then if you're able to hit those threes too, and then you can't double team anymore, then that's when Joyce is a little freed up, because Joyce is at her best when she is one-on-one in the post with somebody and she gets to use her excellent footwork. That's what separates her, is her ability to move on the block and gain an advantage. So really, I mean, the biggest thing is just if you can get some three-point shots to fall, that can really be the domino that leads to a good scoring output. And if they score over 70 points tonight, I don't see Texas coming close.
Yeah, I would agree. And I was just actually looking. Let me go back to it. I had it as well. I don't have it pulled up right this second, but I think Texas, they scored a lot of points against a couple of teams that they were much better than. But otherwise, it feels like it's tough for Texas against teams like this to get past 60, and certainly that's been the case primarily when the Gamecocks have played them. We'll get Elijah's take on the men's Final Four. Coach Stuart Lake joining us in about 20 minutes to talk Carolina baseball. Plenty more to do from Columbia and Tampa on a Final Four Friday. You're listening to the postgame show.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
The big media are out to stop President Trump at any cost. You know their names. They're all the same. President Trump doesn't trust the big media, nor should you. Now, millions of Americans are turning to Newsmax. Nielsen reports almost 30 million Americans tuned into Newsmax last quarter. And President Trump is one. He watches Newsmax and says it's terrific. So tune in tonight to watch Rob Finnerty's series, The Big Media's War on Trump. Every night, Rob Finnerty is exposing their big lies and gives you the straight talk you want. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems, or download the free Newsmax app on your phone or home TV now. Millions have made the switch to Newsmax. You should too.
Currently car shopping? State Credit Union now has auto loan rates as low as 4.25% APR. Plus, you'll have no car payment for up to 90 days. Visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches or their website, scscu.com. That's scscu.com, and apply online for your new car loan today. That's scscu.com. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Don't wait. If your HVAC system needs repairs, AAA Heating and Air has a limited time offer just for you. Get up to 12 months. Payment plans on repairs with no credit check required. All you need is to be a homeowner with a valid bank account. This is your chance to stay comfortable without breaking the bank. But hurry, offers like this don't last long. So do what I did and call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Transform your property with Black Seal, Columbia's premier asphalt paving and maintenance experts. With unmatched expertise, we deliver exceptional results for residential and commercial projects of any size. Our skilled team specializes in asphalt paving, seal coating, repair, crack sealing, and removal, utilizing the latest techniques and top quality materials. Trust Black Seal to enhance your property's appearance and durability. Visit blacksealsc.com today to experience the Black Seal difference.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where the inventory is overflowing and the deals are in full bloom. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/sports. Ethos.com/sports.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, third-generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment, with some great news for anyone looking to add some new lawn equipment to their garage or trailer. Just in time for spring, we've got awesome financing options that let you spread your steel, Toro, or Gravely equipment purchase out over 3, 4, or even 5 years with no interest. For any budget, any yard, Cato's Power Equipment has the best equipment around, with top-notch service to back it up. Come shop our huge selection of zero turns today.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network. 107.5 The Game app.
Just congratulations to the other 3 teams that are here in the Final Four. We are super excited to be here. We are representing the SEC, us in Texas, and proud that we can represent our league in such a fashion because we certainly competed all year long, and the reason why we're here is because of the competitiveness of our conference.
Dawn Staley in Tampa yesterday ahead of tonight's Final Four matchup with the Longhorns, followed by Connecticut and UCLA. Welcome back into the postgame show on this Friday afternoon. Jay Phillips in downtown Columbia, and Elijah Campbell is down in Tampa. He'll still be with us, but shortly departing his current location for the arena ahead of tonight's tip-off. Again, a little bit past 7 o'clock. We'll have it for you starting at 6:30 with Brad Muller on the call on the radio. And again, Gamecock baseball tonight here in Columbia on 98.5 FM with Derek and Coach Stuart Lake. Stuart will be joining Elijah and me coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll talk more about the men's Final Four in just a little bit, too, as we've got, chalk only the second time in the expanded 64-team field that we have had all 4 1 seeds make it to the Final Four. You got tomorrow night another all-SEC affair, Florida versus Auburn, and then Duke versus Houston. But, Elijah, let's come back to this, and I got a couple other cuts from Dawn that I want to get to, but certainly more on what you're looking at from this game. But, I mentioned and referenced earlier a piece in The Athletic today, scouting and previewing this game. And, one of the coaches that they spoke with, and they had anonymous head coaches, so they can be a lot more candid, which I appreciate. One said, I don't think Dawn will do anything different because how she does things is how she does things. But I think Vic Schaefer will do something different. So as you're looking at this and breaking it down from a Texas perspective, would you buy into that? Does Vic try and tweak what his team does in an effort to win this one?
Oh, he has to. And I think he will because he has to, yeah. Right? If you stick to the same game plan, you're going to get a similar result than what you got in Greenville and what you got in Columbia. If you don't change how you approach this game offensively, it's dumb. Idiotic, right? Because if you look at how this Texas team scores points, I understand maybe the broader concept of a Texas team that is top 5 defense or offensive efficiency in the country, or top 10, and being like, well, they already do pretty good offensively. Well, sure, but with what they do offensively and what they're so reliant on does not match what South Carolina's defense is, right? So for one, they're not an efficient shooting team because they take 18 mid-range jumpers per game. 18. That is one of the highest in all of college basketball. Madison Booker specifically, and I find this to be a crime because they could even be better offensively. If I'm a Texas fan, this would have made me so mad, right? So Madison Booker's a 42% shooter from the mid-range, which is really good. If you do it on points per shot, Jay Phillips, it's only 0.84 points per shot. She's also a 42.9% three-point shooter, that's 1.29 points per shot. And at the rim, she makes almost 66% of her shots. That's roughly 1.32 points per shot. You want to guess which of those three areas she has shot from 271 times, which makes up for 53% of her shot selection.
Yeah, that sounds like that mid-range jumper, huh?
That was the mid-range jumper. And that's her bread and butter, right? And there's nothing wrong with it, because I agree with DC's assessment where she's got a beautiful-looking jump shot. When she shoots in rhythm, she's got such a high release. She can get her shot off over anybody, but just because you get the shot off over somebody doesn't mean it's not contested, right? So when they played South Carolina this year, in 3 games, she hoisted up 42 mid-range jumpers, only made 10. And I did the math so you don't have to. That's 23.8%. 23.8% on mid-range jumpers.
Wow.
And that's even including the win. Even in the win, she was not shooting well. Yeah. In that win, she was 5 of 17. They won despite that. They won because they were able to get a lot of offensive rebounds. And I don't know if you can bank on doing that again in this game, because if you look at the raw totals of offensive rebounds, they were at least 10 percentage points underneath their season average on offensive rebound percentage in all 3 games against South Carolina. Does that sound something that you can bank on? No. You have to change something. You've got to be able to get to the rack a little bit easier, or find ways to be able to get to the rack and draw fouls. And that's the one thing that, and Texas does that really well. They do get to the free throw line a lot, but they do foul a lot. And that's a problem, because you know what, Jay? This South Carolina team is, in terms of all their games this year, they played, 37 games?
Yep.
This is going to be game 38. South Carolina, in 22 of those games, shot or made more free throws than their opponent attempted, which is usually the goal when you try to win the free throw battles, to make more than the other team attempts. They did that 22 times this year. That's 59% of games. You're just simply not going to win a free throw attempt contest against South Carolina. That's one of the team's strengths. And this Texas team, I think last time I checked, ranks outside the top 200 in opponent free throw rate. They'll foul a lot. They absolutely will foul a lot, and I think that number for what they do is, actually not just outside the top 200. It flirts with being outside the top 300. They're 285 in opponent free throw rate, and that's a big issue. Yeah. You got to be able to change something defensively. You got to play a little cleaner. You can't maybe be as aggressive, because they do play aggressive, because that's how you can be top 15 in turnover rate defensively, is because you are aggressive. They can't be as aggressive in this game, because you cannot afford to lose that free throw battle. If your regular offensive approach is applied in this game, you're just not going to win. You will lose the numbers game every single time. It's their biggest flaw, is that they do rely on just inefficient looks, right? And they're top 10 in the country in offense despite that. Just against this defense, they cannot play the same way they have all year long, especially against South Carolina, and expect to win this game. Vic Schaefer, really the onus is on him to be the one to find a way to change things up. I think this is definitely one of those things where Dawn can have her same game plan. Carolina can come in this game with the exact same game plan they have in the previous 3 games and expect to be successful if they execute. Texas does not have that luxury. This is your move, Vic Schaefer. Once he does, then it will be Dawn's turn. But if he does not make that move, we're going to have a very similar result to what we saw in 2 of those 3 games during the regular season.
Yeah, that was an excellent breakdown, sir. Well done. And on that note, you mentioned Madison Booker. Ed Bird, cut number 9, please, on today's list. Here is Dawn Staley with her scout individually of Madison Booker.
Just a bona fide scorer. Not even a bona fide scorer. She's a playmaker. Like, she can score the basketball with the best of them. She can play multiple positions, so she's versatile. She can facilitate. She's a really great rebounder. She's a difficult matchup. Like, you really have to, you have to play her 1.5 players. Like, you can't just straight up play her, because she has so much of a skill set that if you don't show whoever's guarding her in this show, close her space off. Because she's able to rise above. She's a big guard that could pretty much get her shot off at any given time. And then you got to make her play defense. She's a willing defender, but with how much she needs to score for them, you got to make her play on that other side of the basketball so that pretty jump shot isn't as pretty in minute, 30 as it is in minute 5.
And you mentioned, Elijah, against South Carolina, they've done an excellent job defending her. How much of a team effort is that? Who might primarily be counted upon tonight to frustrate Madison Booker?
That will be Bree Hall. Bree Hall and Madison Booker have had some good one-on-ones this year, and there were a couple times in the game in Austin where Madison Booker would, occasionally get to her spots, make a shot, or get to the rim, get fouled, and I think someone, who may be an expert lip reader said that, she might have said something along the lines of, "You can't guard me," right? And then Bree Hall, after the SEC championship, was on the podium saying, "Yeah, I can guard you. Yeah, I can guard you." And based off the stats from those games, yeah, Bree Hall does a really good job of making Madison Booker's life a lot harder. But the one thing in that clip that I really like, and that is really the best way of stopping her, and it's also a flaw that Texas created, is if you can put 1.5, Dawn mentioned the 1.5 bodies at her, which means good help defense to where if she does end up getting a win off of the dribble, you're able to have somebody help over and make the shot difficult or make her pass out of her drive. And the one issue with Texas is they only take 10 threes a game, Jay. Only 10, and they make less than 30% of them. They're not a three-point shooting threat. And when you're not a three-point shooting threat, the floor shrinks. And when you shrink the floor offensively because you don't have the ability to expand it by being able to hit threes, that allows teams to be able to 1.5 you, so to speak, with your best player, because somebody like a Sanaya Fagan or a Chloe Kitts can still halfway contest that shot without completely abandoning the player they're guarding, especially in the post. Making that pass from Booker to, say, either Oldacre or Jones a lot harder because she's that pass from point A to point B is significantly smaller. You're just able to crowd the paint on them a lot more. When there's a crowded paint and there's a lot of hands in there, it's harder for that ball to get into the paint with those post scorers so they can get it to where they can score. So that's really just another further point to kind of illustrate how bad of a matchup this is for Texas on paper, and that when South Carolina executes defensively and they're on their A game defensively, it's hard for Texas to be able to score points. It's just really difficult for them to get too much going.
On that note, the over-under 124.5. Like the under?
I think I do. Yeah. I think I do. If it goes over, it's because South Carolina has able to figure it out offensively and get about 70 on the board. Okay. I think that's probably the most likely outcome if that thing's to go over.
We'll have more sound from Coach Staley coming up in a bit. Tahina Paopao as well had a couple of interesting things to say. And again, we've got some time to get to the men's Final Four tomorrow night. Florida, Auburn, followed by Duke and Houston. But on the other side of the break, we'll switch gears from Gamecock women's basketball to Carolina baseball. Stuart Lake will join us from Starkville ahead of tonight's opener. Again, two teams struggling in the Southeastern Conference. Somebody should come away feeling a little bit better about themselves this weekend. Who will it be? We'll get a preview from Coach Lake when the postgame show returns.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Sponsored by Metz Plumbing.
If you got a problem
Sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Traininfo.com. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit Traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Do you like trivia? Do you like pizza? You're gonna love Thursday nights at the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. That's right. Mellow in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington have live hosted team trivia every Thursday night. Trivia buffs of all ages can compete for mellow cash and swag in our fun and funky digs, while enjoying specials on amazing pizza, apps, sandwiches, salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Live hosted trivia at the Mellow Mushroom every Thursday at 7 in the Vista and at 6:30 on Sunset in Lexington.
Plus tax tags and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Do you need credit for a new Jeep or Ram? Do you think your credit doesn't qualify? Think again. JT fights harder than anyone to get you approved and can make the deals other dealers can't. Even if you owe more than your car is worth or you've had a divorce or bankruptcy, JT's got your back. 2 locations, JT's Jeep Ram Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Ram Truck Month.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. With John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Hey Gamecocks, Ben Cato, third generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment, with some great news for anyone looking to add some new lawn equipment to their garage or trailer. Just in time for spring, we've got awesome financing options that let you spread your Steel, Toro, or Gravely equipment purchase out over 3, 4, or even 5 years with no interest. For any budget, any yard, Cato's Power Equipment has the best equipment around, with top-notch service to back it up. Come shop our huge selection of zero turns today.
Bothered by back, neck, shoulder, or joint pain? Get back in the game with The Joint Chiropractic. No appointment is necessary and no need to worry about insurance. The new patient special includes a consultation, exam, and chiropractic adjustment for just $29. FSA and HSA approved. At The Joint Chiropractic, you don't have to feel bad to feel better. Walk in today without an appointment. Clinics are conveniently located in Forest Acres, Harbison, Killian, and Lexington. Online, thejoint.com.
Spring is here, and Corley Pool Solutions is making pools great again. That's right. Call today and line up your maintenance for the spring and summer. 803-445-8109. With flat rate pricing, it is more affordable for you to use Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions than to try and maintain the pool yourself. Call today and learn more. 803-445-8109. Call Corley Pool Solutions. Line up your spring and summer maintenance today.
A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Trip.
On the Game Network and the 107.5, the Game app.
18 minutes after 4 o'clock here on this Friday. Welcome back in. Elijah is indeed in Tampa. Yours truly, Jay Phillips in downtown Columbia. Ed Bird at Master Control. Back into plenty more previewing of Carolina, Texas at the Final Four. But it is now time for an on-site preview. We got a lot of these today. I love it. And the coach is with us, Stuart Lake. Gamecock baseball in Starkville ahead of a 3-game set at Dudy Noble Field with the Bulldogs. Coach, always good to have you. Let's set the scene here. Look, both these teams are struggling right now. These are proud baseball programs. Heck, most of them are in the conference, Stuart. So I don't think anybody expected Carolina and State to be a combined 2-16 at this point, but that's where we are. More pressure on Carolina on the road, more pressure on the Bulldogs in their beautiful ballpark.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was joking with Jay yesterday that it's kind of like a desperation series or a desperation bowl, because when you got this conference record, you don't have many opportunities to be able to turn it around, and it's not going to certainly happen easily. But Stuart, when you look at maybe some of the lineup changes that Paul made this week, and the Presbyterian game and going into it, it definitely seems like a reaction done after some of the struggles in SEC play and just trying to get a win, right? When you make a lineup change like that, what do you think about the lineup change, maybe moving Nathan Hall to 3, Ethan Petrie into the cleanup spot? What kind of benefit you think does that give the offense? And then from a player standpoint, what message does that kind of send going into a game like we had against Presbyterian, where you're coming off another sweep in an SEC series?
I think it's 7, Coach. I think it's 7 in conference play. Yep. Stuart, one of the things that Paul has been asked a couple of times is the confidence aspect of this. And I do think that matters, because, these guys all know why they came to a program like South Carolina. So that's not lost on anybody. But, do we make too much sometimes of the confidence part of this? I mean, every day, that's the beauty of baseball. Hey, you can pretty much go back and flush it right away. So, From that standpoint, between the ears, what is the message, especially when you were an assistant coach, and kind of maybe, sometimes it's good cop, bad cop. I mean, kind of take us through what that feels like on a daily basis. Right.
Yeah, certainly. And then 2 players I've been thinking about, Stuart, here recently has been KJ Scobie and Bo Hollins, right? Like, they're young guys thrown into big roles, and you've definitely seen the flashes in those two. But now that we're 9 games into the SEC season. We have a pivotal series here tonight. What's kind of maybe, I guess, like a message to to players of that caliber being so young, and even though they've played really well at times, trying to get them to play above their means to be able to give you that little extra more that's needed to, instead of just being close in games, to be able to getting over the top and helping win these games?
Talking to Coach Stuart Lake, he and Derek on the call tonight. 6:45 airtime, 7 o'clock first pitch from Duty Noble Field, Gamecocks and Mississippi State. Let's go to pitching now. McCoy tonight, Evans tomorrow. We'll find out on Sunday. And I know right now Paul and Coach Rooney have been kind of waiting to see what the bullpen situation looks like. One thing I've seen, and going back to conference numbers, Stuart, South Carolina pitching is issuing a lot of walks in conference play relative to their opponents. So, again, I'll ask you from a coaching standpoint and the mental part, what's a message to a pitcher to try, and just say, son, we know what kind of stuff you have. You got to believe in yourself. And where is that fine line right now?
And then with Jarvis, too, I mean, we got him on the mound on Saturday. We've really kind of seen a rise in his role, right, from being just the normal midweek guy to being thrusted into having to pitch against a really good Tennessee team on the weekend, and we've seen him be able to perform pretty well. But just from a coach's perspective, too, when you watch Jarvis pitch, what's some of the things that you really like about him and what makes him really qualified to be able to get the role that he's got right now and ultimately become a bigger part of this rotation? Do you and Derek have like a little, TV, a little black and white or something off to the side to watch the women's game tonight? How's that work? All right, well, go do it. Appreciate you, Stuart. Good stuff. Y'all have a good call. I imagine, Elijah, there's probably people out there, like even you. Did you know that they used to make televisions in black and white? There's no way. I don't believe that. Refuse to believe it.
again, Stuart's right. There is a game time change already. Tomorrow's game will now be played at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So do make a note of that if you're going to be tuned in somewhere, radio or the interwebs, 1 o'clock Eastern for tomorrow's game. And again, here in Columbia tonight, 98.5 FM for baseball. Women's basketball will be here on 107.5 The Game. That's Capital City only. Those of you who have baseball across the state on the network, you'll have your regular station. But here in Columbia, a shift to accommodate, obviously, the national semifinal tonight. We'll get back into some of those thoughts, and we'll get an EBPI forecast on the men's Final Four as well. It's the Friday postgame show.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network, powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Integrated Media, the best in home theater, the best in home technology. What do I mean by that? Listen, home theater speaks for itself, right? Indoors, outdoors. I've told you about that. You know what it is. And if you're ready for better home theater, you can do it with Integrated Media. Maybe you're also ready for better home security. Integrated Media can actually take your home theater system and your home security system, really even your thermostat, tie all of that together into one app. You can control it all from wherever you are. Maybe even something as simple as this. You went to the big box store and you saw one of those name brand video doorbells and security systems. And then you open the box and you realize, I can't do this. Integrated Media will come do it for you. Something that small or something as big as doing your entire home. 803-948-8327. Great time for outdoor home theater, too, if you don't have one of those. 803-948-8327. The best in home technology is my friends at Integrated Media.
Ready to update your outdoor living space? You can do it affordably today with Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio. We have beautiful, high-quality outdoor furniture sets and pieces in stock, including original Polly's Island, Woodard, American-made telescope, and CRP, our recycled polymer line. Complete the upgrade with a new Weber, Traeger, or Big Green Egg grill, and Weber's all-new top-of-the-line griddle. Make a high-end statement without the high-end price at Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, 3303 Forest Drive.
Currently car shopping? State Credit Union now has auto loan rates as low as 4.25% APR. Plus, you'll have no car payment for up to 90 days. Visit one of State Credit Union's 19 full-service branches or their website, scscu.com. That's scscu.com, and apply online for your new car loan today. That's scscu.com. Terms and conditions apply. Equal housing lender. Federally insured by the NCUA.
When you think about spring, good stuff springs to mind. You know, like spring break. Woohoo! A friend springing for drinks.
Thanks, dude.
A spring in your step. Spring fever.
Oh, behave.
And best of all, spring water dough pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers.
Yeah, baby.
Experience the taste of spring with our amazing hand-tossed pies, spring fresh salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Enjoy spring at the Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
Plus tax, tags, and title with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Do you need credit for a new Jeep or Ram? Do you think your credit doesn't qualify? Think again. JT fights harder than anyone to get you approved and can make the deals other dealers can't. Even if you owe more than your car is worth or you've had a divorce or bankruptcy, JT's got your back. 2 locations, JT's Jeep Ram Lexington or Greystone Boulevard. Ram Truck Month.
Everybody loves streaming till you have to pay for it. Just download the 107.5 The Game app and stream us for free. And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with many traffic accidents to get to you, so we'll try to run through all these real quick, starting with one on Blythewood Road at Boney Road, Cannon Trail Road at Nazareth Road, Greystone Boulevard near I-126, I-20 eastbound at Clemson Road near exit 80, A lot of accidents on 26 eastbound. One at Piney Grove Road near exit 104. The other at I-20 near exit 107B. Another one at Old Sandy Road near exit 125. And another one near exit 129. So avoid 26 east if you can. You have accidents on Platte Springs Road near South Lake Drive, Monticello Road near Montgomery Road, US 321 at Dixiana Road, and US 378 at Pineview Road and Hallbrook Drive.
A special post-game show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
Welcome back into the program. Jay and Elijah with you here on this Friday. Ed Bird at Master Control. And I don't know what the hell's going on out there, y'all, but let's drive a little better, please. I don't need Elijah.
That was a loaded traffic report.
Yeah,
My goodness.
You know, we want this to be, it's a Friday. It's Friday. I want y'all to get home safe and quick and be able to go, get a burger or a pizza or a steak or tacos or whatever you're going to do tonight, So let's drive a little better. And like Elijah said, avoid some of those areas. And, just ask your Google Maps or whatever for the shortcut. You'll be all right.
Google Maps, Waze, Apple Maps, wherever you get your navigational devices.
But when I hear you say 26 in Piney Grove and 20 in Clemson Road, I'm like, oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, so use your GPS to get around and find some alternate routes because Ferdinand Magellan ain't walking through that door.
Yeah, that ain't good, especially on a Friday. But y'all, seriously, be careful out there. All right, Elijah, we got a lot of women's basketball that we have talked about already, but we do indeed have the men's Final Four tomorrow night. So now it's time for some EBPI. That's the Elijah Basketball Percentage Index scouting report on these games. First, the All-SEC affair. Auburn is the #1 overall seed. But, boy, in their only matchup, Florida won at Auburn this year. And the Gators really just do have seemingly have hit another level at this point. They won the SEC tournament, and they did so really in convincing fashion. They're moving through this tournament pretty well too. Got pushed a couple of times, as you should expect, but I look around here, and I can't say I'm at all surprised that Florida, albeit small, but Florida is the favorite to win over the Tigers tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning 52% for Florida in this one. A slight edge, just because at the end of the day, I do believe they are the better team. I think they're probably a little more versatile on the defensive end. One player to watch for in this one, Jay Phillips, Thomas Houck, one of the many bigs that Florida just seemingly puts out there in waves. 6'7", 6'8", can handle the ball really well near the perimeter. The one exploitable part about Auburn's defense is if Janai Broome has to be pulled away to the three-point line. And when it comes to the interior defense, Janai Broome's as good as it gets. An incredible shot blocker. If you can't go one-on-one against Janai Broome on the block. That is a losing battle every time. But if you can get a big to pull him away from his comfort zone out near the perimeter, you can drive on him. And Alabama exploited that a little bit too. It's why Grant Nelson had a really good game against Auburn when they played over at Neville Arena in the last day of the regular season. Alabama exploited that little nugget right there, and that was maybe one of the reasons why when Michigan played Auburn, I figured Michigan would have a little bit of an advantage, but ultimately what did Michigan in was too many turnovers and too many possessions without a shot, and that's kind of been their Achilles heel all year long. But Florida takes care of the ball a lot better than what Michigan does. You have that big man that can handle the ball out near the perimeter, who can pass, who can shoot, is a legitimate scoring threat from that distance. I think Thomas Houck is kind of the X factor in this game, and I think that X's and O's matchup right there is what leads me to believe Florida will just have a little bit easier time generating points than Auburn will.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, and it's funny because, again, looking at the actual ESPN analytics, they've got it basically 58-42 Auburn, and I think, like, what am I missing? Now, look, this is a larger sample size, and they run it 10,000 times, and let's not sit here and think, like, well, Auburn snuck in as a 10 seed, and how they – no, so right. I totally get it, but I am a little surprised at at that particular projection. But that being said, Bruce Pearl, as we've talked about, is really he does all things well. He recruits, he coaches, he promotes his ball club. Does he? How much of this could be a Bruce Pearl, Todd Golden kind of thing in terms of some of these matchups?
Yeah, I mean, and that's certainly like a great storyline because Todd Golden was an assistant under Bruce Pearl during those early years at Auburn when Bruce first got that job. I think there's a whole lot of that because I think you're going to see Thomas Houck get maybe more minutes than he normally would because of that type of exploitation that you can do against Auburn's defense. That's why I expect Golden to kind of play that move to try to get an edge offensively. Then it's what does Auburn do on defense? Are they going to start, do they avoid switching as much as possible? Do they try something else defensively? Do they try even getting out in transition a lot? Like that's another thing too is there's not a better team in basketball when it comes to winning the transition battle than Florida. I mean, that Florida's the one, like one of my biggest takeaways from a difference between watching a game in person and watching a team on TV is Florida in person. It is amazing and impressive how fast they get into transition, whether it's the other team scoring or off of a defensive rebound. They get out there and they run, and they got the horses to do it too. And if Auburn wants to try to get in that type of up and down game against Florida, I don't know if they play that as well. Nowhere near as well as Florida. I don't know if that really benefits them a lot. How does Bruce try to slow this game down? Now, that's the best part about Auburn is that they can win a half-court game because they're so efficient on offense. That might benefit them a little bit. They got the three-point shooters with Miles Kelly and Denver Jones, Tahad Pettiford, Chad Baker-Mazzara, a solid three-point shooter too. How much do they try to use that as an advantage in this game, and what their plan defensively is to stop Walter Clayton? Because I think if they're going to want to beat Florida, they're going to have to make sure that ball is out of Clayton's hands as much as possible, just because how much he creates for Florida. So that's the one kind of X's and O's chess match that you'll see one coach make one move, one make the other. Watch how, when you watch this game tomorrow, watch how the teams guard each other, right? And try to notice exactly what they're trying to take away, and that's going to tell you a lot about how these coaches view the other team.
You raised a great point about what Auburn can do. That's one of the things that we've talked about the last couple of seasons with Auburn, maybe even going farther back, but I'll just stay in the now. If you want to have a track meet, they'll run a track meet with you. If you want to have a half-court rock fight, they'll have a half-court rock fight. If it's somewhere in between, they'll adjust accordingly. But do you feel like Auburn would rather maybe have a half-court rock fight tomorrow night instead of a track meet?
Absolutely. I think Florida, as much as I love this Florida team and as great as they're playing right now, I think one thing Texas Tech really did well to kind of keep them at arm's length and even build that lead that they did late in the game was that they did force Florida to use up more of the shot clock. And one of the reasons why Florida does play so fast is because Todd Golden's very analytically driven. And the analytics and the numbers will absolutely tell you that the highest quality shots that you can get are when you're in rhythm earlier on in the shot clock. And that's the case for a lot of teams. Now, some teams are different than others. Some teams do kind of rely on a little more ball movement, and they can maybe lull a defense to sleep. I think of Drake when I think of teams that really excel doing that, and they play to that strength really well. But that's definitely one of those things where Florida is just at another level. They reach a certain tier when they play fast. And not to say when they get in a small, lower possession game, they flounder or they're nowhere near as good. It's different. Like what makes them great is when they play fast. When they play slow, they're still really good. Auburn's great playing either way. Right. And I think that might be the edge. The same way I think Thomas Houck, his existence on the floor on offense is going to provide Florida with a little bit of an edge. I do think on the reverse side for Auburn, they probably think their edge is that they can play in a little bit of a slower tempo game and be just as well off, and maybe Florida can't handle that as much if you just limit the possessions. Because when you look at the game when they played back at Neville Arena a couple months ago, Florida was excellent in transition. They got into their flow of their offense just better than Auburn could. So I really think that's, if you want to just use a stylistic view of this game, that could really be an angle that changes the tide of the course of this game one way or the other.
Ed Bird, cut number 13 on our list today, please, sir. This is Bruce Pearl on his team's kind of edginess going into the Final Four. 13.
This is it. Like, we're running out of one shining moments. Like, we do it now, or Or like Dylan Carwell said, this is his last free breakfast. Any morning, he's been prepared to wake up and not have a free breakfast. And so, there's a lot of T-shirts out. We want Dylan to continue to eat free. And so I think that's what it is. It's just a level of desperation that knowing that tomorrow could be our last game every single time for this group. And so they don't want this to end.
Elijah, I do like free breakfast.
God, I do too. That's a motivating factor for me, man. If I knew winning meant continuing to get free breakfast, you might see me look like George Gervin out there with the ball, dude.
Yeah,
I really might start looking that way when I know free meals are on the line.
We stayed at the Homewood Suites in Athens the other day. Not only did they have like the full buffet, right? They got like the waffle iron over in the corner.
Oh,
you make your own waffle, man.
That's a separator.
I wanted to eat two, but then I ate the first one, and I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't. But I wanted to because it was free. And I was like, nah.
It's free.
Nah, leave it for somebody else. Leave it for somebody else. All right, good stuff from Coach Pearl. We'll come back, get Elijah's breakdown of Houston and Duke. You're listening to the postgame show.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game.
This is Bill Ryder with the Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The Golden State Warriors can win the NBA championship this season. That's been true since February 6th, when the trade deadline closed and Jimmy Butler was a Warrior. Jimmy Butler is now 20-4 when in the lineup for Golden State. 19-2 when he plays with Steph Curry. And with the win against the Lakers last night, it's a reminder, as good as the Thunder are, the Warriors can't be overlooked. I'm Bill Ryder.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I need new rotors.
When you buy 2 Duralast rotors during our spring sale, you get Duralast brake pads free.
Free?
With the rotors.
Well, that's great. What if I need extra stopping power?
You can upgrade to Duralast Gold pads for just $10.
So Duralast pads are free?
Yep.
And an upgrade is just $10?
That's right. Part of the spring sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Joint Chiropractic Center, ready to get you back to feeling better. If you've been bothered by neck pain, shoulder pain, just any kind of joint pain these days, stop in to see the folks at the Joint. Maybe you've never been to a chiropractic center. You're like, what exactly goes on? Well, I'll tell you what. For just $29, you can find out. You'll get a consultation where you can ask questions. You get an exam. You get the adjustment. If you like what you get and you're a part of the regular lineup at the Joint, then they can see you not only at the 4 locations here in the greater Columbia area, that's Harbison Boulevard, Forest Drive, Roberts Branch off Killian in the northeast, or Sunset Boulevard in Lexington, but they can see you at Joint Chiropractic Centers all across the country. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 7, Saturdays 10 to 4. Never have to worry about appointments, never have to worry about insurance, and they're FSA and HSA approved. Listen, they just want you to feel better. They're convenient. They're affordable. They're great people. Local owners, Janet and Bob Keene, been doing this a long time. Remember this, folks. You don't have to feel bad to feel better at the Joint.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from erectile dysfunction. Boston Scientific created edcure.com to help you find your best cure. To get started, go to edcure.com to take a quiz and learn your severity or risk of ED. The fastest way to find your best cure is to contact an ED specialist by browsing a list of experienced physicians in your area. edcure.com. You're not alone. Call 803-993-8719. edcure.com is brought to you by Boston Scientific.
A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
11 minutes in front of 5 o'clock here on this Friday afternoon. Welcome back into the postgame show. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you. Ed Bird at Master Control. Elijah in Tampa. He'll be heading over to the Amalie Arena shortly for Carolina, Texas. Game 1 of the national semifinals. The Final Four. Game 2 is Connecticut and UCLA. And we got the men's side of things tomorrow night in San Antonio. We just broke down the Auburn, Florida game. Duke, Houston. We expect the Cougars to have a lot of their fans in state traveling up the road to San Antonio. Cooper Flagg today, Elijah, named the AP Player of the Year, the 4th freshman to earn that honor. Wooden Award will get announced tomorrow before the Final Four. I would think he's the odds-on favorite. Probably him and Janai Broom. One of those guys is going to win that one. Mm-hmm. But this Houston team, they maybe... they're a 1 seed, and they're not taking anyone by surprise, but they maybe don't have the spotlight on them that Auburn or Florida or even Duke have. Does that help Kelvin Sampson in any way?
I think it does a little bit. I think that just creates less distraction. I mean, this time of year at the Final Four, a lot of awards get announced, like the Wooden's going to be tomorrow. We already had, today the AP, and the Basketball Writers Association Awards will be, released soon. And I don't want to say that's a distraction that's going to, hinder Duke or Auburn, because they got, 2 of the best players in the country that are vying for those awards. But it allows at least Houston to solely focus on the task at hand. And the fact they've been able to fly under the radar as much as you can for a team that won 19 of their 20 Big 12 games and seemingly breezed through the Big 12 tournament and have looked incredibly dominant all season long. They're not necessarily flying under the radar, but throughout the national scope and the national sports news cycle, just not as anywhere near as talked about as Duke and the teams in the SEC. I think that helps you a little bit from a preparational perspective.
And we talked about Houston the other day. Purdue's really good, and they eked by that one. But Gonzaga, they beat by 5. But Tennessee, who I had going into this Final Four, and I had that matchup. I just had the Vols winning it. As you and I have said many, many times already, but I'll repeat. Not surprised Houston won. I was just surprised that Houston won by 19, and that Tennessee, just that game, I don't want to say it was over before it started, because that's not accurate, but it was over soon after it started, Elijah.
Yeah, they evaporated Tennessee. I think that's the best way I can describe it, is defensively they just swallowed them whole, man. Like, Tennessee couldn't get anything going offensively because of just how aggressive that Houston defense is, too. I mean, nobody blitzes ball screens better than Houston, meaning when the ball handler's got the ball near the top of the key or wherever the screen is set, that ball handler, after using the screen, is immediately met with 2 defenders. It's a very aggressive ball screen coverage. But Houston has the length and the athleticism to be able to make it to where you can put 2 on the ball, and no matter who the point guard is going to have they're going to have a hard time seeing where the next pass is going to be, right? Because of that length, that athleticism, that pressure that they put on the ball as well, and they rotate so well, and they do such a good job of maintaining drives, even if you don't use ball screens, right? They do a fantastic job of keeping you out of the lane, and if you do end up, beating someone like L.J. Cryer, who is a solid defender, but he's not the best one. If you're looking for a donkey on the defense, teams would look at L.J. Cryer as kind of that player, but even then, he still gets a lot of stops, and if you get by him, they recover so well on defense, again, because of the length and athleticism, that, somebody like JoJo Tugler isn't going to be in talks of being a Player of the Year candidate, or Juwan Roberts. Those guys aren't Player of the Year candidates, right? But they're All-American caliber players because of how good they are on defense, and they're the 2 best players in those Final 4 that aren't being talked about.
Right.
Because those guys are the heartbeat and the soul of what Houston does on the defensive side of the floor, and it's what they've done for Juwan Roberts the last 4 years. Tugler, this is his 2nd year playing college basketball, and they have elite athleticism. Like JoJo Tugler is one of those guys that he's only 6'9". I say only, but 6'9" as a center. Right. But the guy's arms are long enough where he can probably grab his ankles standing straight up. A little hyperbolic there, but just to give you an idea of what kind of wingspan he has, and he can jump out the gym. It's incredibly impressive to watch. So that's the one thing that I love about this Houston team is that they've always done that. They've always been that on defense. This year they shoot almost 40% from 3. That's the difference for them this year.
All right, real quick, the BPI 54-46 in favor of Duke. The EBPI says,
I'll say 56 in favor of Duke, because I think, just like I mentioned, how hard Houston makes life for you defensively, I think Duke is at least equipped to be able to handle it as well as anybody because of that size, right? When a point guard has a ball screen blitzed on him, it helps when you're 6'6", and Tyrese Proctor's that. So is Con Knippel. So is Cooper Flagg. Taller than that, right? I think they have the size and defensive versatility to be able to handle what Houston gives them, but I would not be surprised at all if Houston won.
Men's Final 4 starts around 6 tomorrow night. Again, the Auburn-Florida game first. Duke and Houston will follow about a half hour later. Headlines of the day. More from Elijah breaking down Carolina, Texas in the final hour of the postgame show.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
We've seen it for generations. Way too often, guys especially just won't go to the doctor when they're feeling off. They'll just wait for it to get better, right? Or just say, my granddad never went to the doctor. He was fine. My dad never went to the doctor. He was fine. Well, they probably should have every once in a while, and you should too. When you're feeling off, go see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. Don't be the guy that just waits for it to get better. You don't want to talk about it because chances are pretty good it's not just going to get better on its own, and there's nothing wrong with talking about it. And these are experts in healthcare for men. They know what's up, and it's not a one-size-fits-all treatment. Instead, it is a guaranteed plan to make sure you are feeling like yourself again. 803-875-MENS, and always online to learn more, themensclinicsc.com.
Sponsored by Metz Plumbing.
If you got a problem, it just won't quit. Just won't quit. And you need a plumber to make the trip.
Alrighty, yes sir. 3, 2, and 1. From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic
Sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Traininfo.com. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit Traininfo.com to find your local independent train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass. ShepherdsGlass.com. In Chapin,
and West Columbia.
The Game TV, sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Offers not in conjunction plus text
Right.
entitled.
Thank you, Edbert. I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and then I'll give you a call
JT's Kia
immediately once I
is
step out
thrilled
of
to announce for the first time ever $10,000 in customer cash. Use it to pay off your car or lower your payments. Or keep the cash, it's yours. Get 0% for 60 months. And don't miss 2 new Kias for $222 a month. Even if your credit's been turned down before, come see JT. JT's Kia, I-77 at Killian Road, or the new JT's Kia Greystone.
Firehouse Subs, hook and ladder jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast bread, mustard mayo, purchase bread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive
on the Game Network.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center, I'm Elijah Campbell. With a few accidents to get to you that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon, starting with a bunch of them on 26 East. One is at Piney Grove Road at exit 104, one at I-20 near exit 107B, one at Old Sandy Road at exit 125, and lastly one at US 21 near exit 129. Also have accidents on Monticello Road, Highway 215, and Montgomery Road, Platte Springs Road near South Lake Drive, US 321 at Dixiana Road, and lastly one on US 378 at Pineview Road and Hallbrook Drive.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station. A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Trip.
On the Game Network. 107.5 The Game app. Checking out what's up in the world of sports.
This just in, breaking news is breaking out everywhere.
The 5 o'clock news on the postgame show.
If you're just joining us, I'm covering some breaking news. You know news is breaking because I'm telling you so, and I might touch my earpiece like this.
Sponsored by Integrated Media, Columbia's premier home theater and security experts for over 20 years. On the Game Network and on 107.5 The Game app.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Friday. Welcome back in. Also, the final hour of the post-game show. Jay Phillips here in downtown Columbia. Ed Bird at Master Control. Elijah Campbell will join us again in just a second. He is in Tampa on the way to Amalie Arena, site of tonight's women's Final Four. The Gamecocks and the Texas Longhorns will get it started, followed about a half hour later by Connecticut and UCLA, a championship game set for Sunday afternoon. Gamecocks, slight favorites in this one. Of course, they've already seen Texas twice this year, winning here in Columbia by 15, losing in Austin by 4, and winning the SEC Tournament Championship game in Greenville by 19 points. Dawn Staley, talking to reporters before the game, said, here's what we think we can do pretty well against the Horns. And it's coming in just a second. Hang on, I promise.
So it's probably we've had a bigger offensive spurt throughout those games that we've played that were at a higher stake, and I do think it's going to take that. I mean, we're not going to rely on our success against them to say, hey, we beat them. No, I'm looking at the loss, from this year and how we can prevent that. One, we got to stay out of foul trouble and not have to adjust to. I think the times that they beat us, it was foul trouble for us, like early foul trouble where we had to change up how we just substitute, and that throws our cadence off. So I think it's just about our bigger offensive runs at any given time within the game.
For Carolina, of course, the last couple of ball games, they've really been pushed, winning by 4 over Maryland and Duke. But in the Maryland game, a lot more points, 71-67. The Duke game was a little more low scoring, obviously. And in that game, Malaysia Fulwiley, Joyce Edwards, and Tessa Johnson combined for only 9 points off the bench. And look, South Carolina leads the nation in bench scoring at better than 40 points a game. And as we talked with David Cloninger earlier today, you can't expect that kind of production necessarily in this particular event, but you want to see a relative amount of production. So finding ways to get the bench going, I think tonight is going to be crucial for South Carolina. One other thing, Ed, if you don't mind, sir, please, sir, cut number 12. Here's Tahina Paopao on basically just saying staying the course is what this team has to do.
Perseverance. I think we experienced a lot of things we didn't experience last year, and every time we, lost or did something, we learned from that opportunity and grown from that opportunity. I thought that heartbeat was just perseverance and how we got tougher, and our toughness is, going through battles together. And I'm just really proud of this team, and we know that the job's not done, so I'm gonna say perseverance.
Again, Gamecocks and the Horns tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll have it for you here in Columbia at 6:30 with Brad Muller on the call. And again, Gamecock baseball is tonight as well in Columbia on 98.5 FM. And for the rest of you around the state, it'll be on your Gamecock Network affiliate. Speaking of baseball, let's get into a little bit of that. We'll have more from Elijah on the women's game coming up in just a second. But baseball tonight is in Starkville. South Carolina will send Jake McCoy to the hill tonight. Sophomore lefty, 2-2, a 6.59 ERA. He's gotten roughed up a little bit. 28 2/3, 15 walks, but 48 strikeouts in those 28 2/3. I mean, this kid's getting way better than a strikeout per inning right now. So if he can work on the control, keep that kind of thing going, can he have a good night tonight? It's going to be important. Meanwhile, Pico Cone goes for State. He's a junior lefty, and he's having a pretty solid season. And by pretty solid, y'all, 4-1, a 2.66, 40 2/3 innings pitched, only 7 walks, and 61 strikeouts. So tonight you got some lefties going at it, but Pico Cone is having a heck of a season for a team like South Carolina that is otherwise really struggling, especially in conference play. Tomorrow, Jarvis Evans goes for the Gamecocks, junior lefty, 3-0 with a 3.62, 32 1/3, 7 walks, 32 strikeouts. State will send Evan Ciari to the hill. He's a junior righty, no record yet, a 2.45 in just 14 2/3 innings pitched, 4 walks and 18 strikeouts. The Gamecocks have not yet decided who they will send to the hill on Sunday. Carson Ligon will go for State. The senior righty is 2-4 with a 7.33, just 23 1/3, 9 walks, and 32 strikeouts. Both these teams coming off a midweek win. Carolina beating PC, State beating Memphis on Tuesday night. One other reminder, tomorrow's game has been moved up because of potential inclement weather in Mississippi. It will start at 1 o'clock Eastern time now. So any arrangements that you might want to make, for those of you in the area that were planning to tune in on the radio or anywhere else, 1 o'clock tomorrow, Gamecocks and the Bulldogs because of the weather. Continuing our integrated media headlines of the day, we've got the men's Final Four tomorrow as well, of course. It'll start with Florida and Auburn. They only met once this season. Florida winning at Auburn. Gators in this one are favored by just 2.5 points. It'll be followed by Houston and Duke. The Blue Devils are 5.5-point favorites in this one. Starts tomorrow night with Florida and Auburn scheduled to tip a little bit past 6 o'clock. And you know how it is. I think they've actually got an official start time of 8:49, so they built in 2 hours and 40 minutes. It might be enough, unless Florida-Auburn goes to overtime or something. Anyway, about 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock tips tomorrow in San Antonio, Texas. The Atlanta Braves are at home tonight, looking to become. Well, they're still. Well, let's just put it this way: they're looking to win a game. I was going to say they are the only team in the bigs that has yet to win, and that is not at all what anyone, fan or otherwise, expected of the Braves so far this season. But that's kind of where they are right now, kids. There's no other way to put it. Max Meyer will go on the hill tonight for Miami. Yeah, he has no record but a 1.59. Spencer Schwellenbach goes for Atlanta. He's pitched 6 innings, does not have an earned run allowed at this point in time. He's actually been one kind of small bright spot for Atlanta. We'll see if he can get the Braves off the skid tonight at Truist Park. We shall see. But that one starts tonight at 7:15. And finally, in our headlines of the day, away from anything else that we've been talking about today, but we know there's a big battle going on between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour, or at least the Saudi Public Investment Fund. And today, the PGA Tour didn't reject, or at least this week, the PGA Tour, it was announced, has rejected the latest offer from the PIF to invest into the PGA Tour's for-profit business. There was an offer of $1.5 billion to be injected into PGA Tour Enterprises, but it came with several caveats. First off, the PIF still wants the LIV Tour to be a thing, which the PGA really does not. Secondly, the PIF wanted its governor to become co-chair of the PGA Tour Enterprises board, which was something else the PGA was not in favor of. If for no other reason, the co-chair right now is basically Tiger Woods, and the PGA feels like what Tiger is doing now more as a golf ambassador is incredibly important to the game. So at this point in time, while there have been good talks, this latest offer has been rejected by the PGA. And we were looking at the numbers the other day, Elijah, you and I were, and yeah, even Brooks Koepka this week he didn't say anything bad about the LIV Tour, which he's a part of, but just said we thought it'd be a little bit better based on what they told us 4 years ago, and it's not. But the TV numbers are pitiful. I mean, they're just pitiful, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be getting a whole lot better anytime soon for the LIV Tour. We'll see where things go, but this latest offer rejected. So there we go. Elijah's back with us. And again, now, as y'all can hear on the phone in the car on the way to the Amalie Arena, is the traffic any better in Tampa than it seemingly is here in Columbia? I trust in you, and you're familiar with hockey arenas. I mean, you've worked in one in Nashville, so you know you can. I feel. Plus, you're tall, so you can just see over people to get where you're going. You'll be fine. Definitely helps. Definitely helps. We'll come back. That, by the way, that is our integrated media headlines of the day, including some inside baseball on how Elijah gets even better sound than a lot of people in our business because he simply just lords over them with his pure size advantage. And it makes it work. But we will come back. More sound from Dawn Staley, more of Elijah's breakdown of this one. Big night for the Gamecocks. Can they get back into a title game? We'll talk more about the Final Four when the postgame show returns.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Listen to Gamecocks baseball on The Game. And if a Gamecocks batter hits a grand slam,
you could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash. You could win cash in the Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union Grand Slam giveaway. Go to 1075thegame.com and register. Brought to you by Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union and The Game.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive. This report is sponsored by Carolina Conditions Home Services. Carolina Conditions Home Services specializes in generators, drains, and electric car chargers, making them your one-stop shop for all your comfort needs. Visit their website at carolinaconditions.com or call 803-233-7172 for expert service you can count on.
Sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Langston Moore here, former Gamecock NFLer, author of the best-selling Gamecock book ever, the Justice Chicken series. But I'm here today to talk about Roofing All-Americans. That's right, Roofing All-Americans. With over 25 years in the roofing and construction business, Roofing All-Americans is the premier roofing experts when it comes to protecting you and tackling your toughest roofing needs. With our licensed and bonded and insured roofers, Roofing All-Americans wants to make sure they block and protect you from all the craziness that comes with repairing and replacing that roof. With our transparent pricing, prompt service, attention to detail, Roofing All-Americans is the premier roofing experts. The same things that made these guys All-Americans on the gridiron are the same things that make these guys the standard when it comes to replacing and repairing your roof. So give us a call today at 803-250-1395. That's 803-250-1395 or Roofing All-Americans, or check us out on the web at roofingallamericans.com. That's roofingallamericans.com.
Firehouse Subs, hook and ladder jingle, take one.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Warm that smoky turkey, that thin slice.
Guys, this is a 30-second ad. You gotta sing faster.
Hook and ladder, when it's hot, it just tastes better. Melty cheese and toast bread, mustard, mayo, purpose bread, lettuce, green, and onion. The sandwich is too big for the song. It's too big.
The Hook and Ladder, available only at participating Firehouse Subs restaurants.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
They're here. You can see them. Weeds. Hi, this is Paul Romenstein, proud owner of Midlands Landscape and Lawns. It's not too late to get the beautiful lawn that you want. Sign up for our Midlands Green Treatment Program today and let our experts help you with fertilization, weed control, and everything it takes to get you a green, lush lawn. Are you ready? Give us a try at hateweeds.com. hateweeds.com.
Hey everyone, it's Chris Clark. Garnet Trust is hoping to build the best and most sustainable NIL program in the country. To find out how you can get involved, go on over to garnettrust.com. You can support Gamecock athletes there, get access to exclusive content, and help Garnet Trust build the best NIL program in the country.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. For auto, home, and commercial glass, shepherdsglass.com. In Chapin and West Columbia, The Game TV. Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass.
Offers not in conjunction, plus text tags and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. JT at JT's Kia is thrilled to announce for the first time ever $10,000 in customer cash. Use it to pay off your car or lower your payments. Or keep the cash, it's yours. Get 0% for 60 months. And don't miss 2 new Kias for $222 a month. Even if your credit's been turned down before, come see JT. JT's Kia, I-77 at Killian Road, or the new JT's Kia Greystone.
special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Trip.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
17 minutes after 5 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the post-game show, Final Four Friday. Gamecocks in Texas, followed by Connecticut and UCLA. The winners will see each other Sunday down in Tampa. That's where Elijah Campbell is. He is literally in 5 o'clock traffic in the Tampa area, making his way to the Amalie Arena. When you look at this one tonight, again, fourth time, for these two, and I just don't know, Elijah, if I'm buying into it's hard to beat a team 3 times, because I think that's typically based on the premise of having played them twice in conference play. And this may be something that, applies to a conference tournament, or if you do have a conference opponent in the national tournament that you didn't see in the conference postseason. But when it comes to a fourth time and you want to beat them a third time, that means you lost once. So I feel like that part of it, when people say that winning streak, you need to go ahead and lose a game. All right, well, not apples to apples, but South Carolina did lose a game. So is it the same theory at work here? No, that's true. That's true. Well, now I'm just expecting somebody in this game to go pants the ref or something like that would happen in a Globetrotter game. Ed Bird, cut number 2 on our list today, please, sir. Here is Coach Dawn Staley on this subject, facing a team for the 4th time in a season.
Not much different, besides you probably have to put a little bit more emphasis on being able to stay organized when they take your first and your second option away. And, most of the time is what you call broken plays. So we can stay more organized in broken plays, because they do a really good job of making you go a little bit deeper into your offense. So you got to make sure that you know what we're doing, and it's not just, happenstance or chaotic. So it's more about that. But, we're not going to stray too far left or right from the things that we've done that were positive, that would help us. And then we, knock on wood, we can identify the things that when we did get beat in Texas, what those things were that put us in a bad position.
And it did feel, Elijah, and look, Texas is really good. Texas is a 1 seed. Texas is the co-champion of the Southeastern Conference. Texas has the player of the year in the conference. Vic Schaefer is a heck of a postseason coach in addition to just a coach overall. So Texas is a very good team. I say all that because to Dawn's point about, identify what we didn't do in the loss, I do feel, and maybe I'm being subjective, you tell me, man, but I feel like South Carolina lost that game as much as Texas won that game. Texas stuck to some things, and Oldacre had a heck of a game that night. But I just still feel, in Carolina, they had about a 6 or 8 minute stretch where they just played like crap, and then they really got it back, but then just couldn't quite get over the hump. But there was still more of it was what they didn't do relative to what Texas did. Right. And again, staying with that theme, cut number 7, please, Ed Bird, Dawn Staley. Again, what did you do well against Texas this season?
I mean, we're both defensive minded, so it's probably we've had a bigger offensive spurt throughout those games that we've played, that were at a higher stake. And I do think it's going to take that. I mean, we're not going to rely on our success against them to say, hey, we beat them. No, I'm looking at the loss, from this year and how we can prevent that. One, we got to stay out of foul trouble and not have to adjust to. I think the times that they beat us, it was foul trouble for us, like early foul trouble where we had to change up how we just substitute, and that throws our cadence off. So I think it's just about our bigger offensive runs at any given time within the game.
One of the things that David Cloninger pointed out to us, Elijah, and I actually had a friend of mine text me this very thing after the game against Maryland, was the inconsistency with officiating. And I even remember going back to a couple of games in the tournament last year. It did feel, and I remember you and I coming back and talking about this, it did feel at times like maybe early the officiating crew wanted to assert itself into the game relative to allowing the game to just unfold. And I wonder how much of a concern that is tonight in both of these games. I don't mean that as something against Carolina or for for or against anybody, but in these situations sometimes it does feel like officiating crews want to let everybody know we're one of the teams on the floor too, and I wonder how much of an issue that might be tonight. Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not saying I'm concerned about it or I'm predicting it, but I've seen it where, again, whoa, hold on here now. We're the ones in charge of this game, and just early ticky-tack stuff, and suddenly the flow of the game is just altered in terms of what the two coaches for any team may have wanted to do. So I hope we don't see that tonight. But you never know, what's going through the officials' minds when they're doing their own scouting report in their own locker room, So, but I just don't like the ones, I don't care what level, when they want to come out and go, hey, let's let everybody know we're here, because the only way to do that is because you have a whistle. And that's how we know you're there. And if we're hearing that too much for the wrong reasons, or at least subjectively for the wrong reasons, then different story. We shall see. All right, plenty more from Elijah, who's in Tampa, getting ready to head into the arena. We'll have a drive around the SEC. We get you ready for the baseball weekend, and a little bit more on that Florida-Auburn game as well. Plus more sound coming up from Dawn Staley. You're listening to the postgame show.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Hate paying for streaming? Well, the 107.5 The Game app is free. Yes, free. Just download the 107.5 The Game app.
Getting hot, y'all, in the high 80s today. Tomorrow, time to crank up the AC. Maybe you go to yours and it hadn't been running since, October, November, and all of a sudden, it's not there, or it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Time for you to call AAA Heating and Air and get one of their great technicians into your home to make sure you're good to go for these hot months that will continue for a while. 803-677-1500. Hey, if it's good to go, then, if you're not sure and you find out it is, boom. Hey, all right, great. If it's time for a quick repair, true transparency pricing, let you know up front what you're going to pay to get it fixed and up and running. Time for something brand new. How about this? Guaranteed financing. No payments or interest for a year, $1,500 rebate, 15-year parts and labor guarantee. That's what Roy and Dana Finley offer their customers on a new system. 803-677-1500. Join me and many others in staying comfortable with AAA Heating and Air.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Bill Gunner for Old Timey Meat Market. What better way to spend a great night with your family than with some great cuts of meat from Old Timey Meat Market? You can grill out, whether it's your family, your friends. Old Timey Meat Market has plenty of Traeger grills in stock. Plenty of pellets, rubs, sauces, and accessories too. Come on by Old Timey Meat Market in Lexington today to take a good look at the many sizes of Traeger grills. Old Timey Meat Market and Traeger grills, a perfect combination.
Old Timey Meat Market. Quality selection, a cut above the rest.
I'm Jason Reynolds. You may wonder if you're better off hiring a big corporate law firm with hundreds of lawyers, or should you go local?
I'm Stephen Samuels. With the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, you get me, or Jason, or Michael, or David. You have your own lawyer who can go toe-to-toe with anybody, from big law to big insurance.
Here's how you know. Call 803-779-4000. You won't get a robot. You'll get Abby or Andrea or one of our other wonderful people taking your call. Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers.
The Colorectal Cancer Alliance is a one-stop resource you can trust. Go straight there. Just get to the website.
Go to the Alliance. Go to colorectalcancer.org.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to you, they're causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon, starting with a bunch of them on 26 East. One is at Piney Grove Road at exit 104, one at I-20 near exit 107B, one at Old Sandy Road at exit 125, and lastly one at US 21 near exit 129. Also have accidents on Monticello Road, Highway 215 and Montgomery Road, Platte Springs Road near South Lake Drive, US 321 at Dixiana Road, and lastly one on US 378 at Pineview Road and Hallbrook Drive.
A special postgame show with Elijah Campbell live in Tampa covering the Gamecocks at the Women's Final Four.
Sponsored by Atkins Law, Lexington Discount Homes, and Columbia Craft and Peak Drift.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app. It's time for our drive around the SEC on the postgame show.
Georgia on the mountaintop. Demons be gone, and the drought is over. National champions.
On the Game Network and on 107.5, the Game app.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Friday. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you. Ed Bird at Master Control. We are about an hour away from Brad Muller taking over the airwaves. Gamecock women's basketball against Texas in the Final Four down in Tampa. Elijah is down there making his way toward the arena. I just saw a shot from our good friend Lulu Kesson. So she's already beat you there, man. So she's found her seat. But you're like a foot taller than her. So, again, you know, I hope you don't take it out on her later by, like, just hogging some of the, you know, attention in a media scrum or something like that. Yeah. But you can't trade seats because then, like, you'll get, at least at this kind of event, because you'll get hollered at, like, sir, why are you not in your assigned seat? And then, you know, then you'll get thrown out and it'll be a scene. We don't need that. That's right. They throw you. Yes. That's it. Yeah. They have some toughs. Yeah. It's a port town, man. It's a port town. You know, you got toughs, you got heavies. And they just, that's what they do. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, so let's not have that happen. Drive around the SEC time. We'll get back into some basketball in just a second. Baseball. Last night, Cade Anderson went the distance for LSU. 14 strikeouts in a shutout. Yeah, man, I tell you, that was against Oklahoma, who's, by the way, this is a top 10 matchup. Complete game shutout with 14 strikeouts. So well done. But he threw 135 pitches. That doesn't happen too often, but he was dealing, man. And sometimes you just let a kid go. So I'm actually, that's a lot of pitches, all right, especially for April. But at the same time, he has a week to rest. And I don't know, every once in a while, it's kind of refreshing, Elijah, to see a coach let a guy go. Because no matter what, sometimes it'll be like, all right, we're going to the pen. Yeah, and when you can just tell, there was only a 2-0 win, by the way, so it isn't like LSU was lighting it up offensively, and I'm glad to see that they just said, you know what, let's just ride this wave, and they did. So yeah, good for them. Yeah, it is. It is. I love complete games, and so good for Cade Anderson. Game 2 of that set in Norman tonight. Let's see. We're playing a doubleheader right now. Game 1, Kentucky leads Ole Miss 4-3 in the 7th. These games in Lexington. Again, they're trying to get ahead of the weather, too, so they've got another one coming up in a bit and unlikely to play tomorrow up in the Commonwealth. Florida is hosting Vandy tonight. Tennessee hosts Texas A&M. This is a couple years ago they played for a title, and now it is a very different story. Tennessee is 8-1 in the league. A&M is 1-8. Auburn and Alabama don't like each other. They'll play tonight and all weekend long. Texas is hosting Georgia. and Arkansas traveling up to Missouri. Mizzou is the only winless team in conference play. They are also the only team in the league with a losing record. And again, South Carolina is at Mississippi State this weekend. Let me go over one more time the pitching matchups for you, and again, a slight scheduling change. Tonight, Jake McCoy goes for the Gamecocks. Pico Cone, a junior lefty, will go for Mississippi State. Jake is 2-2 with a 6.59, 28 2/3, 48 strikeouts, and 15 walks. 48 strikeouts, man. That's pretty good in 28 2/3 innings. Yeah. But Pico Cone is one of the best pitchers in the conference. He is 4-1. Again, a junior lefty, 4-1, a 2.66, 40 2/3 innings pitched, 61 strikeouts, and only 7 walks. A very impressive stat line for that young man so far. Tomorrow afternoon, this game has been moved to 1 o'clock because of bad weather, just to try to get ahead of it. Jarvis Evans goes for the Gamecocks, junior lefty, 3-0 with a 3.62, 32 1/3, 32 strikeouts, 7 walks. Evan Ciari goes for Mississippi State, junior righty, no record, 2.45 ERA, 14 2/3, 18 strikeouts, 4 walks. Coach Maneri has not yet decided upon a starter for Sunday, but Coach Lamonis will send Carson Ligon to the hill for the Bulldogs. Senior righty, 2-4 with a 7.33, 23 1/3, 32 strikeouts, 9 walks. So maybe an opportunity there for the Gamecocks. But otherwise, the 2 kids that State is sending to the hill, kind of hard to believe with those kind of numbers, Elijah, that this is a team with only 1 conference win. So got to find whatever chink in the armor is there and try to exploit it this weekend if you're South Carolina. Yeah, you'll find out. But, this kid tonight, again, Pico Cone, he'll be a high draft pick coming up here in a couple of months' time. Elijah, let's turn our attention again. We have an all-SEC women's matchup which we spent a lot of time on, but one more time for those who didn't hear some of your projections on the all-SEC men's matchup tomorrow night, Auburn and Florida. Auburn, the number 1 overall seed. Florida is the favorite in this one. The computers like Auburn. The gamblers don't care. They just have Florida as the favorite. But as we've talked about a few times, it just feels right now in the moment that the Florida Gators are just playing a little bit better basketball. I mean, Auburn's here too, but it just feels like maybe Florida's playing a little better. Right. Yeah. And we both have a Florida-Duke final on Monday night, correct? Yeah. Again, maybe the surprise result for me of the last weekend was again just how completely dominant Houston was over Tennessee. But you make a great point, too, how completely dominant Duke was over Alabama, considering what Alabama had done 2 nights prior to Brigham Young. So, I don't know. Both of that almost feels like that should be a title kind of matchup. Both these games have that. You got ones. That's the beauty of it. I'm looking forward to chalk. I don't mind this. I know some people want a VCU or a Loyola Chicago in the Final Four. Those are fantastic stories. I totally get it. But I like the fact that I've got 2 national championship type games tomorrow night that's going to lead me to a real one on Monday, no matter what. So I'm here for that. No, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Well, didn't you say, for Ken Palm, like, what is it, to 3 of the best teams ever in the Ken Palm era or something like that? Okay. That tells you a lot. Again, I'm looking forward to it, man. I don't mind a couple of big time heavyweight bouts, and that's what we're looking for. All right, good stuff. That's our drive around the SEC, brought to you by Herndon Chevy. Final thoughts from Elijah and one more interesting cut from Dawn Staley that will get you as we get ready for the Final Four. You're listening to the postgame show.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Pro Swing wants to send you to the Masters. Pro Swing is giving away 2 tickets to Sunday at the Masters, including access to the Map and Flag Hospitality Building. Enjoy an open bar, premier entrees, and a dedicated Masters Gear Pro Shop. No waiting in the normal on-course lines to get your swag. Here's how to enter. Just play a minimum of 2 hours at full price anytime from now until Friday, April 11th, 2025. Each 2-hour block played is an entry to win. Enroll in our loyalty program to receive exclusive perks and your entry into the giveaway. Add the March to the Masters tournament to your Bay booking and get an additional entry. It's the perfect way to increase your chances and enjoy even more golf fun leading up to the tournament. Purchase a 2-hour gift card. Each one counts as another entry to win. The winner will be announced on Friday evening, April 11th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. live on 107.5 The Game.
This is Zach Gelb with Sportsman. It's sponsored by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. I'm in San Antonio for the Final Four, and for the first game, watch the defensive play of Denver Jones of Auburn. And if the Tigers are going to win, I think Tahad Pettiford will at least need to score 20 points. I'm rolling with Walter Clayton Jr. of Florida, though, to defeat the Tigers. And in game number 2, I have so much respect for what Kelvin Sampson continues to do at Houston, but I can't pick against Duke right now. So give me Duke in Florida, playing for it all on Monday night. I'm Zach Gelb.
It's March matchups at BetMGM. Lock in your picks for this year's tournament with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Get into the game with exciting state-of-the-art live tracking technology, exclusive sportsbook selections, and so much more. Check out BetMGM Originals for dozens of markets you won't find anywhere else. Take a shot at our exciting free-to-play games for your chance at scoring odds boost tokens, bonus bets, and many other prizes. Experience college hoops like never before with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 years of age and older. Some U.S. promotional offers are not available in Mississippi, New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. First bet offer for new customers only. All other promotions for existing customers. Subject to eligibility requirements and rewards may vary. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
At Progressive, we understand the bond you have with your boat. It's why people name theirs.
I named my boat Sure Don't. Get it? The other day when my friend said, "Hey Larry, you want to head back in? It looks like it might rain." I said, "Sure don't." I guess they didn't get it because they didn't laugh.
Whatever you call your boat, protect it by insuring it with Progressive, America's #1 boat insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. #1 rating based on boat market share data from ratefilings.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-383-7733. That's 800-383-7733.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Minutes in front of 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Welcome back in. It's the final few minutes of the post-game show, our Final Four edition. Elijah Campbell is outside of Amalie Arena, ready to go in. Kind enough to wrap things up here and not get not have to worry about getting hollered at by any of the ushers or, as he called them, tour guides to get him to his seat tonight. 6:30 airtime. Brad Mueller on the call. 7 o'clock tip here in Columbia on 107.5 The Game. And Carolina baseball tonight here in Columbia at 6:45 on 98.5 FM. So if you want to play dueling radios, you can do that here in the capital city. The rest of you that have baseball on the Gamecock network around the state, your local affiliate will still have Carolina baseball. So there you go. But women's basketball here on 107.5 The Game in downtown Columbia. Ed, cut number 5 here, please, sir. We'll get to this real quick. This is Dawn Staley. A little bit of a long cut, but I thought it was interesting on what she had to say about, especially this time of year, just how she communicates with her players and the belief that she has in them for the job that needs to be done.
You have to condition young people to handle like real communication, because if it just happens once, they're not going to get it. And if it happens once and then a month later, they really aren't really connecting the two. So you have to address everything that's happening in front of them in real time, and then they'll get used to it. They may not like what you're saying. They might like what you're saying at times, and that's what builds trust. Like it's not, it's not, oh, I'm the head coach, or listen to me, and don't do what I mean, that's old parenting, right? It's a new age parenting that's out here that kids have a say. They want to be listened to. They have something to offer you, and that is how they're thinking, how they feel, and how they want to move, and how they want to operate. And if it's within what we want to do as a program, carry on. But if it isn't, let's sit down. Let's talk about some stuff, right? And it is just that. It's over and over and over again, to where you condition them to listen, and you condition them to have input, and that builds trust. Communication builds trust. They're not in a place where we just leave them and say, hey, this is what I want you to do, and that's it. And then what they're gonna do? They're gonna go back to where they are. They're gonna think about it. She's gonna think, I'm this good, I can't do this. Hey, mom, this is what she said to me. Hey, friend, this is what she said to me. Now I got like 3 people that's talking about the opposite of what I'm saying. I need the majority. I need the majority saying, we're all saying the right things to the principal. Our players are the principal. And that's how you build it. You build it with every person that has our players' ears, like, because it's a lot of them. It's a lot of people that they talk to and they listen to, and we want to make sure that we have the biggest voices, in our players' heads.
I thought that was an interesting take, and as a parent myself, listen, communication is key. Or as Elijah found out, lack of communication is key when he doesn't tell his mama about what he did to get his brother out of high school for an NCAA tournament. No, I kid. But you can tell, I mean, in all seriousness for just a second, and I know you're around this team a lot now, Elijah, and have been for the last couple of seasons, and you get moments after games in the locker room, in the press room, and one of the stories around Carolina women's basketball is the buy-in. That you will, they don't even like to call, they don't like the word sacrifice, that they will sacrifice individual numbers, individual glory for the team. It's the reason they're here, and it's why you don't see a lot of defections, because Dawn treats them like equals and has them understand what the buy-in is, and we see the fruits of that labor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's a special model that works. So, hey man, great work this week. In all seriousness, enjoy the ball games, and hopefully you got a lot of them to cover, and maybe you're back here all sleepy on Monday or something like that. We shall see. Yeah, good stuff. Elijah's heading into the arena. Basketball coming up in about a half hour here in Columbia. Wherever you are across the state, have a great weekend. Ed Bird, thank you, sir. We'll do it again on Monday. See ya.
107.5 The Game, broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevy Studios. You can save up to $20,000 on new Silverados. Stop by or shop online today and see how Herndon Chevy makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
And a final note from our good friends at AAA Heating and Air. The hot weather is upon us. We might get one more little, respite from it, but let's face it, when it's 90 degrees, it's 90 degrees, right? Time to crank the AC. You'll be doing that. Make sure yours is good to go. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. And if you're not sure if it's going to be working for you or if it's not quite up to what you want it to be, they'll take care of it. Time for something brand new. Maybe it's just you've got an old system, heat or air, and it's just not very efficient, costing you a lot of money. Take advantage of a fantastic opportunity. Guaranteed financing, no payments or interest for a full year, $1,500 system buyback rebate, 15-year parts and labor guarantee. That's what Roy and Dana Finley and the crew at AAA Heating and Air can offer you. I love what they've done for me. They keep my family nice and comfortable all year long. I know Bill Gunner feels the same way, and so do many of your friends and neighbors. 803-677-1500, AAA Heating and Air.
Sponsored by Lowe's. The Ego Power Plus Savings event is on at Lowe's. Right now, get a free Select Eco 56-volt battery with purchase of a Select Ego trimmer, blower, or mower kit. Only at Lowe's. They help, you save. Offer valid through 4/16. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
BOGO is back at iMart Express.
Come on. Okay.
Right now, for a limited time only, new customers can buy their first pair of glasses and get a second pair free. Plus, with eye exams available and same-day glasses, you'll never miss a moment. It's the kind of savings and service you can really get used to.
Come on.
Okay.
Find a location near you at imartexpress.com to shop our BOGO event today and see everything we have in store for you. iMart Express. Get glasses. Go see.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton. I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
And now, traffic sponsored by Wetzel's Automotive on the Game Network.
Oh, it's my turn to be in the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center. Jay Phillips here. Final bit, and we've got still a very long list. First off, Bush River Road near I-20, so be careful in that area. UG at Blossom Street here in downtown Columbia, at least down there near the ballpark. Good thing there's no ball game tonight. I-20 eastbound at Alpine Road. I-20 westbound at Two Notch, so some northeast accidents. 26 west at Greystone, right out of town. Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road in the northeast. And Two Notch at Lake Drive. So I don't know what's going on today, y'all, but there's been a whole bunch of accidents. Y'all do your best to stay safe. Enjoy all the sports and everything else this weekend. Jay Phillips in the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Center. See you.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
Just in case you missed it, the best of the day on the Game.
6100, how you can weigh in if you want to do so. I want to remind you about the Gamecock Traditions over-under contest. This weekend, I should say, it is number of points, total points, talking about the Final Four, for Chloe Kitts, 21.5, Preston Thorne, 21.5. Under?
Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I mean, I feel like if you go, I don't know what that means. I would take the under, but
it definitely means if you take the under, you're also leaning a little bit into the fact that they don't get out of the first game.
Oh, for the Final Four.
Final Four, total number of points for the weekend.
Oh, I'll take the over then.
You going over?
I think so.
See, even with the over, I'm not 100% sure.
That's an interesting one.
21.5 points. So go to 1075thegame.com, click on the contest tab, pick Chloe Kitts over under total points for the weekend, 21.5. If you pick correctly and we pick you, you could win a Gamecock Traditions gift card. So just go to 1075thegame.com, get signed up on our contest tab, and pick the over-under total points for Chloe Kitts, 21.5 this weekend. 803-404-6100. We'll come back to